All right. Thank you. Everybody gonna sing with me? Okay, no, don't. All right. Hey guys, welcome to Orlando. Raise your hand if this is your first time to an elite seminar ever in general. Take a look around, consultants. First time ever. Raise your hand if it's your first time in Orlando seminar. Just curious. All right. Very good. Raise your hand if you're wondering who this good-looking bald guy is up here. You have no idea? Mr. Cartan, thank you. Hey. So anyway, my name's Frank Silverman, Executive Director of the Martial Arts Industry Association. Oh, thank you. Wow. My man right there. So, yeah, I know that was not Mr. Levy over there, was it? So, okay. The funny thing is I was going to start off with rules, but not the same rules we always start off with. But I guess I need to start off with the rules. Shut the phones off. Put them on vibrate. It's that simple. If you can't break away for the 1 hour in between each speaker before you can pick up the phone, you need to be here more than anybody else does. If you have to keep the phone on because there may be an emergency at home or something like that, keep it on vibrate, but please don't do one of these. Well, if I pull out my phone, the wires are all coming out of there. I can't really talk right now. I mean, we hear you, we see you, okay? Don't do this. Who am I texting right now, Mr. Klingham? So I mean, texting's a little different, but just be aware that you're bothering the people next to you. I just went to a play recently. Has anybody ever heard of the play called Kinky Boots? Anybody see it? I thought it was okay. It was all right. Just went to it, and you know, you're not allowed to have, that's the first thing. That's the only rule. They come out here, no cell phones. And there's my wife. She pulls it out, and she starts texting somebody. She said, well, nobody can hear it. I said, that big bright light isn't making the person next to you feel any comfortable. Okay, so please, people see you texting, people see you phone calling. If you got to, get up and head on out. Okay. Next, so that's really the only rule I'll go back in the past on. But I did want to go over a couple of other things before we really get into the meat and potatoes. And one little story. First is, and I'll do a show of hands. So I'll go over one other rule. Please, regarding questions, hold them for the consultants till they ask you for questions, okay? Because if you don't, they're going to be bombarded through. One, they probably won't answer your questions anyway. And two, they'll never get done their topic in the allotted time. So please wait till they give you the opportunity to ask, unless you're just absolutely thoroughly lost and have no clue what they're talking about. Okay? Other than that, wait till they'll give you time at the end. And on that, everybody knows now, I'm just diving into the rules. Everybody knows being at the airport, we're not going to Tahiti. Everybody knows what that is? This is how I do it. Okay? Let's listen to how the consultants do it as opposed to, let me tell you how I do it at my school. Does everybody know why that's important? Here's why it's important. It's very simple. It's because it might work for you at your school, okay, but that doesn't mean it'll work for somebody else at their school or their business. When the consultants come up here and give you what they've been working on, not only does it work in their school, we're pretty confident it's going to work in Houston. We know it's going to work in New Mexico. We know it's going to work in Orlando, New York, and everywhere else in between. What is that? We know. Is it mine? That's just, I hope it's not me. So, okay. So why are we here? Let me just ask, and I'll take 4 or 5 people that raise their hand and just give me 30 seconds why you're here. Just curious. Anybody raise your hand? Why are you here? 1. Knowledge, more knowledge. Grow your business.
To make more money.
Make more money. Train staff. Stay motivated.
A little time away.
Little time away.
30,000 feet perspective.
All right, good.
It's a lot warmer here.
From where are you guys in from? Omaha. Now, you did fly here though, right? Okay. Well, let me tell you, I'm putting on my fatherly lecture for a second here. Okay? So and I didn't plan on saying this actually until I just kind of had a little fun with some clients up front. Let me tell you something else you should really do. Now, one, I didn't graduate college, so when I say I had this lecture when I was in college. It was when I was in school for a little bit. And one of the counselors, as we were going through the introduction, said, you're going to get a real good education when you go to school here, but one of the things you really need to do is get to meet people and network, because at the end of the day, you may know a whole lot, but as you know, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Okay? I've seen that happen 5,000 times in my life. Heck, I probably see that happen on a weekly basis, that it's more important who you know than what you know. But that being said, I want to kind of give the story here. So I was talking about a seminar we did in Aspen, Colorado. And honestly, we just sat back and laughed with Mr. Albert, Miss Paula, and Mr. Cartan, and we were talking because it was just horrid. It was terrible. We go on this trip, and we all went on there. It was a wealth building seminar, and this was a few years back. I made the joke, "You ready to go?" And he said, "No." I said, all we did was sit in the back of the line complaining about how hard this damn hike was, because that's all we did was hike all day. And literally, I think that's going to be the highlight of my whole entire seminar here, is just kind of reminiscing. And then, of course, I said, well, where was Metzger during it? And then we remembered, he was the smart one. He bailed out. It was so horrible, he wouldn't go on the trip. And I think part of what we need to remember in these seminars and these martial arts, when we're done, make sure you go out to dinner with us. By the way, we're paying for your dinner anyway, okay? So I should tell you now, we're not paying for the alcohol at dinner, but we're paying for your dinner. Okay, but we're paying for a great dinner at Texas Day Brazil. And don't just sit there by yourself. Talk, meet some people. When we break and we go up there, hang out. I was talking to Beard. I said, Beard, what's one of the, him and I have done like 25 seminars together, just me and him. What's one of your favorite things that we did? And I know what you're going to say, and then I'm going to comment on it.
Yeah, probably in New York, man, we just stumbled across this hole-in-the-wall restaurant. Outstanding.
Probably one of the best restaurants I've ever been to, right by the airport in Newark, actually, I think it was. The reason it's cool is because I'm going to tell you, at least once or twice a year, one of us texts the other person just saying, hey, do you remember the name of that, or do you remember that restaurant? We've been doing this for like 5 years now, trying to remember. But the thing is there's a whole lot of stuff you guys are going to get while you're here that's really relevant to your business and your schools. But don't overlook the value of building relationships in our industry, because a friend of mine, Bill Clark, once told me, he says, at the end of the day, that's all you really got, okay? And so take some time to culture, build part of the culture, be part of the relationships with each other. Don't walk out of here not knowing anybody else's name that you didn't know when you came in, okay? And by the way, if you want to just make it a pure business level, you don't know who that person really is or may be in your life. I got invited to a little event. We're working on a little real estate deal, and somebody said, hey, I want you to sit down and meet somebody. He's a developer. So I went out there, met with him. This was just last week, developer. To be honest, I really wasn't in a social mood. I didn't think I wanted to do it. Go out there, I didn't realize the developer was a county commissioner. I was like, man, that's a pretty important context. So for those of us who put that little wall around us, undo the wall, be friendly, be part of everybody. Raise your hand if I'm talking to you. Okay, so there we go. I mean, I didn't actually expect anybody to raise their hands, but there it is. I teach these seminars much like I teach martial arts. Okay, I don't like talking to Mr. Tippett. Okay, I just talk out loud to everybody, and it's your job to assume that I am talking to you. Okay, if you assume I'm talking to you, maybe it gets in, right? But I'm not going to embarrass anybody and say, Mr. Tippett, you're really antisocial. Could you talk with some people here? I'm not going to do that. He's not. So anyway, guys, get more from these seminars than just information and knowledge. Kind of get involved, meet people. And then you'll have the same stories that I'm having, that I walk out there. I mean, one of my best stories, I just think, is Metzger doesn't like to fly, right? I don't like to fly. So what happens when they start boarding the plane? One person's in the restroom and two people don't like to fly. It's natural. You take their luggage, you throw it over the stall and say, dude, I'm leaving. Okay? We talk about that all the time. It's just fun things that happen when you're traveling and being part of it. So by the way, he was the one in the stall and I was the one leaving. So that's how good of friends we are. I don't care. I'm out. But anyway, so that's one. Two things regarding the seminars that we've talked, the consultants have all gotten together and that we've asked. There's an imbalance between what people want to learn and what people need to learn. Does everybody understand the difference? Okay. Okay. Now the next question is, who often is the worst person to decide what you need as opposed to what you want? Who's often the worst person? Yourself. It's the comment who just said it. It was Mr. Nebkin, not looking from 30,000 feet back. Okay? So what we've done is we know, raise your hand if you want to get more members. Okay, by the way, that's like everybody raises their hand, right? Sometimes getting more members isn't what you need. Sometimes it's just what you want. Now, don't get me wrong. Everybody needs more members. But that doesn't mean because you sign up 25 more members, if 25 members leave, do you really need more members or do you need better retention? You just need better retention. Hey, so what we've done is we've asked the consultants to, one, balance out a little bit of needs and wants. And specifically, let's drive the idea of how to get more members in your school. So tomorrow I've got a topic, 5 members in 10 days. Okay? For some people, 5 members in a month is a lot of people. If you sign up 50 people in a month, 5 members in 10 days, the way I'm doing it is still a nice goal. But the point is, everybody raised their hand, they want new members. We're going to have some topics really on new members. Number 2, we spent a lot of time, ironically, in the wealth seminar prior to this, trying to understand why don't people do what they know they should do. Okay. So let me say it again. Why don't people do what they know they should do? I know I should lose weight, but I don't get in shape. I know the consequences of not losing weight can be horrible, right? I could die, but I still don't exercise and eat right. Okay? Why don't I save for my retirement? I know saving money now will make me much wealthier in 20 years from now instead of waiting 20 years. But people still don't save, right? So this goes on. So the question is why don't we do what we know we need to do to become successful? So if I say I'm going to teach you how to get 5 members in 10 days, raise your hand if you'd be in for that deal. And then here goes the same thing. Raise your hand if I tell you it's going to work no matter which state you're in, because we've done this in half the states, if you're going to implement it. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Raise your hand if you think if I come back in 3 months from now and ask the question who implemented, that 50% of the people at least that put up their hands won't have done it. Raise your hand if you believe that. Why, if you know something's good, and if you believe something works, maybe you don't even know it works, but you believe something works, why don't you implement? Change is hard. How much change, what could I do that is so different to get you to enroll 10 members? It's not. What I'm going to ask you to do isn't. And most of here's the thing. Change is the scapegoat excuse for a lot of people. He's right. But what everybody says, it's change. Some of this, changing your, I'm not asking you to change your curriculum. Why don't we do things? What else? You have to work. I think there's 2 answers. I don't know. And there's probably 100 answers, and probably 50 of them, 50 people in this room, if there's 100 people, 50 might not want to work. And the other 50 are a bunch of different answers. But here's my belief. Number 1, I believe, watch this. Did everybody hear he said that people don't want to? Raise your hand if you're adverse to working hard. Well, sir, not one person raised their hand in this room. That can't be the answer, right? No. Okay, so nobody wants to admit that they may be adverse to working hard. You're adverse to working hard? But by the way, I'm adverse to working hard as well, if I can avoid it and work smarter. So here's the one. Instead of saying, which I agree, instead of saying I'm adverse to working hard, I don't think a lot of the time people are committed to doing what it takes to get things done. Things are not push a button, turn key, and easy. Okay? If I could literally walk into my school and say, everybody, we're having a special today, 10% off you if you enroll for the first 10 people or first 5 people, I think everybody would do it if we thought 5 people were going to enroll and we'd be done. But when I say, no, the way we're going to do it is do these 15 steps, we get lost in the work and the activity. It becomes hard. The next is, I have to assume I'm trying to take responsibility. I'm trying to take responsibility and say, we're not breaking it down enough to make sure you get it, to make sure we do it. Is that a possibility? I mean, I might as well as not blame you and say you don't want to work hard. I'm blaming myself and saying we're not explaining it well enough. So what I'm going to say is we've asked the consultants to make sure, let's give some steps here, make sure everybody understands how to do whatever you're asking them to do. If at any point you're confused, grab a consultant during question time or afterwards and say, give me the bullet points. Help me understand what I have to do to make it happen. Because I don't want anybody to leave with any excuses for not implementing. And at the end of the day, you'll hear 1,000 ideas. How many ideas do you need to make this seminar worthwhile? 1. But I will be deeply depressed if all you have is one idea by the time you leave. There it is. So here's what we're going to start with. We thought very hard about breaking this apart and splitting everybody up. And if I run out of time, we'll come back with it. This is called our manager's This is a CMA, Championship Martial Arts, our school program director's test. Doesn't matter what your role is in the school, this is a real good deal. Here's what I'm going to ask. Whether you're here with a business partner, a partner, husband, wife, program director, instructor, don't look at anybody. When I pass this out, you are not to start comparing notes. I mean, it's one of those, everybody looks straight ahead, or you're going to ruin it. Then I'm going to say we got to separate the rooms and kick half the people out and half stay in here. You're not allowed to. Okay? So I'm going to ask us to take one, pass them out, and we'll go. Actually, I'm going to, maybe I should have gone that way. Each person takes one. There's like 125 there. We have plenty. Pull out your pens or pencils. Let me know when everybody's got them. I don't know where the... No, do not start. Do not pass go. Do not collect 200. Go directly to jail. So no, do not start. Okay. Do not start. And do not share. Listen, I'm telling you, if I catch you peeking on someone else's paper, dinner's out. You're gone. How many people have been to Texas de Brazil? How many people like Texas de Brazil? All right, if I boot you out, you're missing like a $100 meal. Kyle's paying for. All right, do we have? Not yet. And actually, Roger, just in all seriousness, let me actually take this second because sometimes people leave a second early to tell everybody. Roger, what time? This seminar is over roughly at about 6 o'clock. The bus to pick everybody up today will be at when?
We'll leave at 7:15.
7:15 from the motor court downstairs, and dinner begins right at about 8 o'clock there. And the bus will bring us back probably about 10:30, 11, something like that. But here's the deal. That bus leaves at 7:15, so make sure you're down there. That gives you an hour and 15 minutes in between to relax and do whatever you want to do. Then tomorrow, we restart back up here at 9 a.m., right? Breakfast is from 7:30 to 9. If you don't want to do breakfast tomorrow morning, be right in here at 9 o'clock, because at 9:01 we're starting. If you want to have a nice breakfast first, it's right out there in the midway. All right. Here we go. We're going to do one page at a time, but we're going to skip question number 1. I want to come back to that last. Do not look at anybody as you do it. We will take 1 minute. These answers will take 2 minutes because 11 actually takes a little bit. You got 2 through 12. That's 11 questions, 1.5 minutes. Go. Start answering them. This sheet has caused 3 firings and 2 divorces when we started. 1 minute left.
Should be able.
30 seconds. Tell me right now if you think you'll need another 30 seconds after that. All right. 1 minute, tops. Five, 4, 3, 2. Pens down. That was kind of fun. How many people did not finish yet? Wow, that's like okay. Honestly, since that many people haven't finished, let's take about another minute. I might have to do more of this later in the seminar. I want to give you plenty of time. We start about 5 minutes later. So take another minute or two. And then at that point, we're just going to go on. Mr. Klingemeyer is about to be expelled from school for looking at the follow-up pages.
What page?
Page 2. I saw them. "30 seconds. I swear I'm not spitting. It sounds like a... That's something. Wow. All right. Real quick. All right. Who wants to go over number 1 for me? Oh, man. I got 2 that didn't follow instructions. I saw their hands up. Exactly. I said, don't go over number 1. Okay, so clearly, here's the deal. How did I start off? I said, I need to give step-by-step instructions. I did a poor job of explaining. So here we go. Number 2. I'll tell you why I'm going over number 1 last, because we did this in-house, and number 1 can be a little subjective, you know, how you want to answer. It's got to be a little bit of how I ask the question to how you answer. Now, I'm going to tell you this. As I go through this, as far as I'm concerned, my answers are fact as fact can be. But the real truth is, within your company, within your school, who has the right answer? The owner has the right answer. So you may or may not agree totally, but I'm giving you as Mr. Nevins said, the 30,000 behind view, looking at it and saying, hey, this is what I believe these answers to be, and I will tell you why. There's definitely some that if you interpret it a different way, might be a little different. But more importantly, the question becomes does the person you're sitting next to, if you're sitting next to somebody right now, but if not, there's somebody at home, did they answer it the same way? Isn't that really the big question? Okay? How do you know if everybody's on the same page as you in your company? Well, everybody thinks everybody's on the same page until they're not on the same page. Okay? So let's start with and so here's I was joking about obviously 3 firings and 2 divorces, but you can see how comparing these can become an issue. So I'm going to, let's take 30 seconds. How many people are here with somebody? Okay, take a look next door to you, compare notes and raise your hand and keep it up if you got 100% of them the same, other than the 10 marketing ideas, because that's really just whatever you want to say. Hand up high if you got them the same. And stop. Hand up if you've got 100% so far. Hold on. I want to repeat that out loud. We're pretty close. Okay? When you go to a stop sign, do you almost stop or do you stop all the way? Almost stop. What's the police officer say when you get there? Nice job almost stopping? No, you either got it right together or you didn't. All right, here we go. I'm going to go over the answers. Guys, no joke. How often should the school be cleaned? You'd be surprised. The appearance of the school should project what attitude? Guys, I'm telling you, I was driving, where was I at? I was driving back from somewhere. Oh, I don't know where. I think I was in Tampa, nonetheless. I was in Tampa recently. And man, they had more trophies than I ever had in this school, you know? But yeah, it's about a professionalism and showing that we're professional educators. Number 4, whose job is it to keep the school clean? Everyone. All right, everyone. And by the way, for the head instructor or the program director or the owner, if you're not willing to get out there, and I'm not saying you got to be the one scrubbing the toilets, everybody has a job, but if you're not willing to pick up the piece of trash when you walk by, your school gets only as bad as you let it get. You got to have your own personal pride, top down. How many people have been to our building, at our headquarters? I mean, literally, I emptied the trash the other day. We have like 50 tenants there total, and some tenant freaking threw out his trash on the trash bin. And I could have called our property manager and said, hey, can you kind of empty this? I picked it up and threw it out. When there's trash on the ground, I pick it up. I have pride in the center. What is the main purpose of the info call? Hold on. Don't say it out loud. Let's say, raise your hand if you want to answer it. All right, if I was to give you $50 if you get it right, raise your hand if you want to answer it. What's amazing is not everybody's raising their hand. Some of us are a little scared of being wrong, but that's okay. So what's the main objective? Set the appointment. That's it. The objective is not to let them know how great you are. It's not to let them know why you're better than the school across the street. It's not to let them know that you teach Wing Chun Kung Fu, Taekwondo, Jiu-Jitsu. It's to set the appointment. That's it. Let me go this route. And people will love me for saying this. I don't need the high fives when I leave. If you get an info call and you don't set an appointment, you failed. That's it. You bombed. You failed. Now, there might be an acceptable percentage of how many you would get, but at the end of the day, on an individual basis, someone calls for information and does not set an appointment, you failed that task. Does that feel good? It's not meant to feel good. It's meant to be the reality. Because, guys, so many of us get so many leads generated, but they don't convert them to walking in the door. What good is a lead generation mechanism if people don't actually come in? It's called a money-wasting generation mechanism. Okay? The phone rings, I inquire for information, they set an appointment or you fail. Next. What is the average value from each call? Well, to be able to do that, we'd have to know what everybody's student value is multiplied by how long they stay a member, and that's what it would be. What information, now listen to the question, what information must you get from the information call? All right, let's let them go. Give me the things. What must you get? All right, so no, hold on, listen up. Let me repeat the question. I'm going to repeat it out loud for everybody. What information, but by the way, you were right, but I heard some other answers come up there. There's a whole lot of information you should get on the information call. But there's 4 pieces of information you must get. And by the way, if I just said, if you don't set the appointment, you failed, if you don't get these 4 things, you surely don't get an A. But here it is. Number 1, you need the parent's name, assuming that it's for a child. 2, you need the student's name. 3, you need their age. And you need their phone number and their email address and whatever litmus of contact numbers you would like. And of them, if you don't get their age, I can live with that. But those are the information you got to get. Yes, do I want to know where they came from? Absolutely. But if they set an appointment, can I find that out then? Sure. Do I want to know what size uniform they have? It'd make it easier, but at the end of the day, I better have every size uniform there anyway. Now, just curious. Let me make sure I have it in reverse. What information do you need to give everybody before they hang up the phone? That's not on there. Take 15 seconds and write it down. All right, here we go. Who wants to give it a shot? I put 5 things. By the way, they can have more things on their list than we need on our list. How come? I got to be tailored because I got to get them to come in. Once they've engaged and said they're there, everything you say is in about 1 sentence. It's okay. So what are the 5 things? Mr. Sky, go, quick.
Our name or the contact name?
Contact name.
The time of the appointment, the address, and what to wear and expect.
All right, so we missed one important one. Your name, address, your phone number. You would expect that they have the phone number because they called you, but hey, I don't know. Okay. What to wear, time, and there's one more, very important. I actually believe it's huge. Yes? Okay, so decision makers absolutely should have there. So I'll give one more. It's very important that you put a locator on there. What is a locator? I'll give you an idea. I happen to know where your school is because we own a piece of property right down the road. I've never seen such a concentration of martial arts schools or gyms from your school to the highway. It's about 1.5 miles, and there's got to be 15 schools there. Am I right? Or I mean, it's bizarre. So if I call up their school and they give me their address, I'm going to pass 5 schools on the way. Okay? I'm going to pass at least 5. And I don't know anything. I mean, I got my nav that could be off. Who knows? So as soon as I see a school that looks like it, I pull in, and there it is. A locator is identifying where your location is relative to something bigger and better than you. Okay? I'm at 10145 Tavistock Road, located across the street from the McDonald's. I'm located at 10145 Tavistock Road, located in the same strip center as the Subway. Across the street from CVS. Very important that you make sure you direct people. I learned this the hard way because I had a school literally across the street. And I mean, I'm sure I lost as many clients as he did in the day. Next question. How many times should we let the phone ring before answering it? Does everybody realize the phones don't ring at the same time? I mean, that's if I dial your phone, I hear more or less. I hear more than you hear. Okay? How many people never thought about that? Okay, let's just do it real quick. Now it'll probably go backwards on me. So, somebody put their phone on ring. What? Thank you. You get the waiver. Who's got their phone where we can hear it ring? Mr. Cartan has it. Give me your phone number. 425. 443. 6099. Mine will be on speaker. Okay, so on this one, they're ringing together. Get the dog out of here. All right, somebody give me a phone that'll actually participate the way it's supposed to. I mean, for Pete's sake. People from across the country. Come on, give me a phone number. Mr. Beck, is it a landline? That's what it is. It's a landline. Does anybody have a landline here I can call?
Mine sounds like regular phone. Mine actually rings.
Well, no, it wasn't the ring. It was, okay, so you're telling me if I call a landline, because that's how we tested it again. But bottom line is, let it ring 2 times 3 at the most. You don't want to be on that first ring where it looks like you're sitting by the phone, and you don't want to be 3 or 4 because remember, they've already heard it 4 or 5. Just curious, how long will you listen to a ring before you hang up the phone? I mean, I don't have a real number. I mean, I think my number is just before I get bored. I mean, that's it. So bottom line is 2 to 3 rings. Okay, next. Somebody explain the 5:15 rule. I will buy you the salad bar tonight if you get this one right, and all the meat you can eat at Texas Day Brazil.
You missed number 9.
Did I miss number 9? That wasn't important. To control the conversation, we should answer each of their questions with a question. I knew everybody knew it. Number 10, what's the 5:15 rule?
Just remember that 5 marketing things by the 15th of the month. Is that it?
That's very nice. But that's not it. Yes.
Be within 5 seconds or within 15 feet.
Okay, here's what it is. 5 feet, make eye contact, smile, and personally greet somebody. 15 feet, make eye contact and acknowledgement. So you're sitting in your desk. Most people have their desk at the front. He's pulling in, opens the door. Acknowledge. I mean, guys, I got to tell you, I went to Subway the other day, and I forget, I don't even remember what I was getting, but I wasn't getting in line for food. I needed to talk to the manager about a cross promotion or something, and there was people in front of me, and I get it. I mean, but they wouldn't even acknowledge me, and I was so infuriated. I just got up and left. I just left. I mean, all I had to do was say, "Sorry, sir, it'll be a couple minutes." I mean, to sit there, I was there like 3-4 minutes without an acknowledgement. Person walks in your door, you go, so we're 15 feet away. I see Mr. Klingemeyer. I say, "Sir, be right there." "Hey, sir, be right there." He knows what that means, right? Okay, now I'm done on the phone doing whatever I'm doing. I step out of my office. I'm 5 feet. I already know his name because how do I know his name? I did a proper appointment. "Hey, Mr. Klingemeyer, Frank Silverman, welcome to Championship Martial Arts. Thank you." Okay? That's how we, what's that word? That's how we build rapport.
Can you repeat that again, what those were? 5 was what, 15 was what?
Okay, so let me go in backwards. In 15 feet, we make eye contact and we acknowledge the person. That doesn't mean cling. That doesn't mean do that. It just means a simple nod or hi. "Sir, be right there. Be right there. Thank you. Be right there." Acknowledgement, 15 feet. When you close the gap and they come to you or you come to them, then you make eye contact, smile, and personally greet them. By the way, the first time somebody walks into your school, this is not the personal greeting. Sir! Okay? It's not. A personal greeting is, hey, sir, how you doing? It's the 5-year-old, hey, sir, how are you? Okay? You got plenty of time to teach that bow to them later on. I give this story of and I was a black belt at the time. And I was a black belt, I was young, I was in my 20s, so when I really thought I could whoop everybody. I mean, I was that age of a black belt. And I'll never forget, I walked into, I was teaching at the YMCA and I needed to pick up a belt because we had testing. I ran out of belts. I went into one of Master Cho's schools. He had one school in Orlando, Florida. I went in there and that dude sat, it might have been Master Cho himself, you know, the guy who breaks the bags and that. The doorway, and it's only 3 feet, and he sat in the doorway like this. I mean, I had to squeeze to get by, and here I am, I'm a martial artist. I'm not like even a parent. I'm a martial artist thinking I know something, right? I was scared to go in there. So guys, you got plenty of time to teach people about how great we are and what we do. Let's get them to be members first, okay? You understand I'm being very sarcastic about that, right? Okay, so a personal greeting is a friendly, warm greeting. 10 marketing ideas. Guys, I'm not going to go through 10 marketing ideas with you because there's 100 marketing ideas. The point is that we should always be sitting down with our team going over that. And then here's a question. This is a really good one. What percentage of the gross revenue should be spent on advertising? 5%. 10%. Terry, how much, if you don't mind telling us, how much does your school gross a month? And if you do mind, just say, Silverman, be quiet. I'm sorry? $125,000. I'm just going to ask, do you spend, well, how many people think she should spend 10% on marketing? I got to be honest, I think for her to spend 10% on marketing would be a lot of money. I don't think she needs to do that. I don't know. It's not a percentage. Because if you're a school that only grosses $3,000 a month and you say 10%, what's $300 going to do for you? Not a whole lot, right? It's not a fixed number. We have 10 schools in Orlando. We surely don't have to do 10% because we get the value of collective marketing because they're all so close to each other. It cuts our costs. So there is no real answer. I'll tell you the two answers that used to circulate the industry. It was a flat number of $1,000, but by the way, that was before the internet. I mean, internet's made things a lot different the way we market. And then people would come up with a percentage, right? And I just don't think any of those do. It's about having a budget, and what's more important in advertising, bigger and better or consistency? Consistency. It's just that simple. That's never changed over the years. All right, I'm going to give you the answers to 1 through 5, or number 1, I'm sorry, in the order that I have them. This one is the only question that could be really subjective. You could sit there and debate back and forth on whether you agree with the list, and it just depends what frame of mind you believe this question is being asked. But so here I've got 5, 6, 4, 3, 1, 2, 7. So if I number them, 5, 6, 4, 3, 1, 2, 7. And the idea is a successful school should run from the ground up, and that was the key that we linked into, ground up. With that in mind, put these in order. Well, if you don't market, you don't have anybody. Once you market, you got to be able to answer the phone. Once they come in, you have to have a clean floor. After that, it's about customer service. From there, you have to be a good instructor on the floor. Your selling skills have to be wonderful, or just because you teach great doesn't mean people will sign up. And then your curriculum, and because people don't even know what your curriculum is, pass 1 or 2 classes anyway. That's how we came up with that. That's the only question on there. I'd be willing to sit down and negotiate out with you and say, it could be a little bit different. All right. Any questions on page 1? Guess what we don't have time to do right now? Page 2. I mean, I spent 3 hours doing this at the office. How many people found that useful? How many people think they have some material to go home and sit down with your people with? I think what you'll find is nice about this is you have it in paperwork. All right, guys. 2 minutes for questions. Yes, sir.
You're going to pass out your answers at the end of the
I gave you my answers.
second
No. I'll tell you what, how many people would like me to finish the quiz with them sometime? All right. One of the next segments, I will go very quickly, and instead of having you do the questions and answers, I will give all the answers in a segment, and then I'll go through them quickly. So I'll be able to finish 3 pages in less time than it took us to do 1 page. But guys, please understand, there's no shortage of knowledge in our industry. There isn't. I mean, there's never been a shortage of knowledge, but now there's surely not a shortage of ways to obtain that knowledge by virtue of the internet. It's nothing new. The question is, what do you do with it? What do you do with it? Do you do anything with it? I don't know. All right. Guys, we have literally time for, this is one of those stand and stretch breaks. 3 minutes, then come on back. Give yourselves a hand. What's that? Make sure you wish a very happy birthday to Roger Cowan. 28 today. Lion. All right, hey guys, I actually want to come clean. Did not realize it, but Robbie Beard is the creator of the manager test back there. So he's now he said he disagreed with 1 or 2 of my answers. He's the creator, but no, not at all. So hey, here's the deal. Please bring that back with you throughout the seminars because we don't know when, but we'll carve out one more time to be able to go over the whole entire rest of the test. So now, give it up for the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Adam Parman. Give it up for Mr. Metzger, everybody.
You knew exactly who he was talking about. Come on. It's good to see everybody. Some of you, most of you. Anyway. Hey, so I told our crew that I haven't been this motivated to do a seminar in a long time. Really. And what do you think motivated me so much for this particular elite seminar? The Maya Hub Facebook page. That's what motivated me. I can't read that stuff anymore. It's unbelievable. So, you're choking. And don't get on that now. But seriously, I'm really motivated because here's what I'm realizing. There's stuff, one of the things that we try to do, I honest to goodness don't know. Some of you may know more than me. I look at you guys and Miss Smith, I don't know how long we've been doing this. Is it 10, 11, 12 years? How long has it been? Does anyone really know? 13? 13 years? Bless you. Anyway, one of the challenges, one of the things you don't see behind the scenes after 12 or 13 years of doing these, and for those of you who may remember this, we used to do these quarterly. Do you remember? Who remembers when we did these quarterly? Okay. Hey, by the way, put your hands up again. Okay, hands up. You see how long these people are nuts? How long they've been in this program? Anyway, and now we do it 3 times, but one of the hardest things to do about this seminar is what Silverman said earlier is we need to give you what you want because it's just like disguising repetition when you're teaching your martial arts classes. But we really got to give you what you need, and sometimes just giving you what you need doesn't keep you coming back necessarily because there's certain things that you think you want, right? And I'll tell you, Mr. Tassel put a survey on that Maya Hub page, and I want to just bring this up. And he said something to the effect of, and don't feel bad if you're one of the ones that got this, in my opinion, wrong. But one of the things he said was, what is the most important thing for your school? Excuse me. And then he said, he listed like 7 different things. Staff training, staff development, revenue, whatever. And purposely, the last thing he put on there was more students. And the number one answer was more students. And I called them up and I said, the most important thing for your business, how can somebody put more students over revenue? Like, I don't understand. I understand. And do you know why did you all do that? I'm kidding. Nobody wants to raise their hand now. See? Here's why. Because you're not slowing it down a little bit and you're thinking more students equals more revenue. You think that's the only way for more revenue. Now, if some of you are sitting there saying, well, no, it's not. I want to impact the community. There's not a person in here that has a school that has more students than me and Silverman with 10 schools. I'm impacting my community more than anybody. But I couldn't open 10 schools without starting with revenue. And revenue is what gets my black belts careers or opportunities and on and on and on and on, okay? So then it brought me back. After reading that stuff, I wanted to go back, and for a lot of people that I've worked with for a long time, I said, hey, we got to review this. I said, you've heard me say this 1,000 times. And I said, what are the 3 ways to grow any business in the world? And don't say it out loud right now, but I said to the people I've been working with, and by the way, if you work with me, you've already heard me on my rant. My Lord. So, can you see my notes okay, by the way? Well, that's kind of strange. Okay. All right. So what are the 3 ways to grow a business? And by the way, everybody that I've worked with that I thought I said this a million times, everybody kind of forgot. Everybody kind of forgot. Now, if you didn't forget, you may know it, but I don't know if you're really executing what you know. So here's another quiz. What are the 4 steps to becoming successful? I mean, 4 steps if you want to be successful. Not Tony Robbins, Mike Metzger. Okay? Number 1, you need to learn how to be successful. You need to learn how to be successful. You got to learn, and that's what you're doing by sitting in here. And I've said this a lot too. But the second step is you have to execute what you've learned. If you're just walking around with knowledge in your head and not doing anything with it, it's useless. You got to execute what you've learned. But then to really maximize success, step 3 is you got to teach others how to be successful. You got to teach others how to be successful. And then the last step is you got to teach others how to execute what they've learned. Those are the 4 steps. But a lot of times, I think this group in here, a lot, we do steps 1 for sure, because that's you're here. And most of us do step 2. The problem is, sometimes we only do step 2 on certain things that we've learned, and not on everything that we've learned. And that's something Silverman talked about before too, is if you know you should be doing something, why is it that we don't always do it? And then everybody had some answers. Maybe we feel it's hard work, this, that, and the other, but I really believe it's because we don't really know the value of doing certain things. We don't understand the value and how it'll impact the business. So, 3 ways, Rogers. I don't know if you can tell back there. Something's going on with the mic. 3 ways to grow a business. Listen to me. Any business. McDonald's, this hotel, the airline you flew in on, any business in the world. The first one, you need more customers. We need more students. Now, when you read Maya Hub or Facebook things, that's like the end-all and be-all in our industry. Let me tell you how to get more students, more students, more students. It's all about new students, new students, new students. That's just one of the 3. We need customers. Every business needs customers. We need more customers, okay? So now what I want you to do, we're going to take this in steps. If you are a school that has staff members or a team, This is something you can do when you get back. If you're a one-man or one-woman show, you need to take time to work on your business and not always be working in it. And you need to get into your school, and you need to sit there for an hour, and you need to say, okay, there's 3 principles of business. I need more customers. I need more students. How can I get more students? And by the way, this seminar, Mr. Tassel, Mr. Parman, we're going to give you a lot of things on how to get new students. But what I want you to do right now is just take literally 2 minutes, and I'll just start you off. How do you get more students? Well, referrals, email blasts, Facebook posts, buddy days. And you take 2 minutes and make a list of all the ways that you can get new students in your business. Take literally a minute or 2 and start making a list. This is the easy one. This is the easy one. So start writing some things down. But when you go back and you sit with your team, you got to get them thinking. And I'll explain why in a minute. Okay, I just wanted to get you started. So whatever it is, that's good. But listen to me. To get more customers, you can make a list of 20, 30, 40. You can make a huge list. But then you got to focus. And you got to look at your list and say, okay, I can't possibly do everything on this list every single month. It's impossible. Can't do it. So what are the 5 things, the 10 things? Realistically, how many things can we do based on the manpower we have? What can we do on this list? And you should circle as a team, collectively, agree on it. I'm going to talk about this later on why, but then you circle the things that you are going to focus on this month to get yourself more customers or more students. And the list, and by the way, Silverman said you should network. We're all in the same boat here. When we go to dinner tonight, when you're out on the breaks, breakfast, lunch, go introduce yourself. There's some great martial artists in here, people, business people, and we're all here for the same reason. So introduce yourself. And by the way, I'd say, hey, how many things did you come up with on that list? What are some of the things you did? I mean, that's how you just start getting some ideas. I was going to have you break into groups, but I have just too much stuff that I really want to cover to take the time to break into groups. But more customers, and like I said, you got buddy days, you got Facebook ads, you got flyers, you got emailers, you got school talks, you got mass intros, on and on and on, okay? Number 2, we got to grow our business. The second way we could grow our business, we need more transactions per customer. How do we get our current customers to buy from us more often? It's so important to do that. You know, has anyone ever heard of Tony Little, the gazelle, Tony Little? You know, that guy? Did you like that? Yeah, bad neck, has the ponytail. Great guy. Mr. Silverman and I, we've had several dinners with him, lunches with him. We were talking about doing some stuff. The guy sold, I don't know, 2 billion, 1 billion, 1.5 billion, billion gazelles or something, like unbelievably successful. Unbelievable. But we were talking to him about some stuff because he's still on, you know, the shopping network. He's still on there. I mean, he could sell anything, right? And by the way, I think they're good products. I really do. But one of the things he said was, you don't necessarily make money on the sale. Like, that's the break even. By the time you pay the shopping network or whatever, it's what's valuable and what people will pay for and what works for him is all the data you collect from all the people the billion people that did buy. Because then you follow up with those people and say, hey, I know you bought this for $25. This is a $100 value that you own that you could buy this. How can I get my same customers buying from me more often? Well, instead of writing them down now, we're just going to go through it. So the simplest thing is if I hold a parents' night out or an event or a seminar. If I do a seminar, I want to do a seminar on getting in shape. For all my adults, students, and it's $30 for a 2-hour seminar specifically on a certain thing. I just got my current customers to buy from me more often, didn't I? Now, it's not every single customer, but I got current customers to buy from me more often. You understand that? What other ways can you get your customers to buy from you more often? Retail. We have a retail package. You're paying me $100 a month for lessons. Now you buy a retail package for $30. Well, this month you're not a $100 customer to me. You're a $130 customer to me. This is where student value comes into play. Okay? How else can I get my people to buy from me more often? Upgrades is the best one in our industry, because if you want to look at it where they buy from you by paying an extra $25, it's recurring month after month after month after month after month. They were my customer, my service was only $100 a month. Well, you can get all of this if you want for only $25 more a month. I'll take it. Now it's 25, 25, 25. And by the way, who can tell me what an upgrade is? You could say, it could be, yeah. An upgrade could be a higher level of service. Yeah. What else is an upgrade?
Someone that commits to more time and more money.
That is an upgrade. But here's an upgrade is just anytime you can get a current customer to go to a higher level of payments or whatever. It's an upgrade. It could be anything. It could be monetary. It could be time. It could be whatever. Okay. There's a lot of people out there in the Facebook world. And there's someone out there that says, we don't believe in upgrades, we don't do upgrades, we don't do contracts, it's month to month, it's all about customer service and taking care of your clients. 100% agree. Take care of your clients. And then somebody said, well, what do you charge? And they responded, $149 for 1 day a week, $189 for 2 days a week. Be careful who's laughing, because I know who did these little on Facebook. You're laughing here amongst your posse, okay? I was so irritated because there's so many people out there serving Kool-Aid right now. I mean, they just are. And I'm just telling it like it is. And they're preying on what our industry believes they need, but it's what they want. And they're preying on that. They're preying on it. We don't do contracts. Why do you need to do contracts? You do serve. We don't do contracts. Hey, master, I love this so much. Can I come Tuesday and Thursday? Well, sure you can, son, for an extra $40 a month. That's an upgrade. That is an upgrade.
And it's a contract also.
Yes, it is.
Oh, it is. Well,
You give 30 days notice to cancel.
oh, well, there you go. It's a 1-month contract. However you want to look at it. So listen to me. My point is everyone in this room, more transactions per customer, that's not Metzger philosophy, that's business. You got to find a way to get your current customers to buy from you more often. Period. Private lessons is a huge one. Okay? There's a million ways. And then the last one. You have to figure out how to get more money per transaction. How can I take a transaction that's about to take place and make it become worth more? Now, let me give you 2 examples, and you tell me if you'd be insulted. Because this scares some people. I know it does. I know some of you are sitting here saying, I'm just not the sales type. I'm just not the aggressive sales type. So, first of all, let me give you one example. It has been, I'm not lying to you, it's been probably 25 years since I've been to Taco Bell. And I've been there twice in the last 30 days. And I got my 6 hard taco supremes. How to do it. They tasted better 25 years ago, though. But my daughter wanted to go there. She's 7. I'm like, where do you want to go? I was starving. I'll take her to Ruth's Chris. I mean, I'm like, you want to go to Cooper's Hawk? Do you want to go here? I want to go to Taco Bell, Dad. I said, is there anywhere else? I mean, anywhere, right? And she's like, please. I said, you know what? I'm so hungry. And I remember she gets a chicken and cheese burrito, like nothing else, just chicken and cheese burrito. And I remember the last time she got that, it smelled so good in the car. And I was thinking, if I let her get that and then I just take her to sit with me, like I'm going to be smelling that. And I'm going to say, I said, you know what? We'll go to Taco Bell. We'll go to Taco Bell. But I smiled because here's what happened at Taco Bell. How much do you think they're trained salesmen at Taco Bell? They're not trained salespeople at Taco Bell. But I literally went up to the counter and I said, I'd just like 6 hard tacos, please. She lifts up the cup and says, would you like a drink for just 40 cents more? And I smiled and I said, yes, I would. And then I had a business seminar with my 7-year-old at the table. But here's the thing. Here's how you have to think. 40 cents more. Let's say Taco Bell has 1 million customers a day. She just made the company extra $400,000 a day. My transaction was going to be what it was, but it just became 40 cents more. Was I insulted that she tried to sell me on a drink? Of course not, neither would any of you. Same thing in the martial arts. This is why this takes practice. So here's an example. And I'm just going to run through it. I won't go through it because now you're going to tell me what you think I want to hear instead of really answer honestly. So I'll just do it for you. So I said, I use this as an example. And you guys know this if you work with me. I've said this to you on the phone. I said, hey, let's say you do weapons. It doesn't matter. But Mrs. Johnson comes up and says, hey, Matthew broke his bow staff. I need to buy him another bow staff. 90% of you, and you know it, 90% of you would have said, oh, no problem. That's $49.95. Here you go. Here you go, Mrs. Johnson. That's what you would do. And you know that's what you would do. And if you wouldn't do it, your team would do it and somebody else. So then I got the same answer because I'm on the phone with you. And they go, well, no, I would tell them about our graphite bow. That's $99. I said, no, you wouldn't, but let's pretend you did. Okay? But here's the deal. Because you guys are thinking about working on your business right now. But in the busyness of things, classes are switching, and Mrs. Johnson says, hey, I just need to buy a new bow for him. He broke his bow staff. You're just she has the bow in her hand, let's say. You're just doing the transaction. I mean, that's what you're doing. But then I said to you guys, because you know who you are, because we talked about it, and like everybody had the same answer on that. Okay, Mrs. Johnson comes up with the graphite bow and says, I need to buy him a new bow staff. He broke his last bow. Can I buy the graphite bow? Well, that's the top of the line bow. There is no other bow. Well, number one, Mrs. Johnson, hey, he broke his bow. I'll tell you what, since you're buying this, I'll give you 15% off if you just want to buy the case with it. Is that insulting? Not at all. But even better, because I got to think better. Hey, Mrs. Johnson, don't know if you have any interest or not, but I'd love to give you 25% off a private lesson. I can show them all kinds of cool stuff with this bow if you're interested, but since you're buying it, I'll give you 25% off if you want to buy a 30-minute private, and I'll go over some things with them with the bow staff. You interested? That's it. Yeah. That's it. And oh, no, that's okay, just the bow. Fine. But if I do that every time I have a transaction, are they going to walk away saying, man, Metzger was just pushy? No, that's it. Just like adding the cup. Do you want a drink for 40 cents? Simple. Here's another thing that makes sense. This is a good one. So wake up. This is a good one. Somebody's enrolling in your school, right? Because I just think it makes sense. I think there's a story to it, and I actually believe it to be true. You're enrolling, parents enrolling their child. The child is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever. Hey, congratulations. They're done. They're enrolled. Congratulations, really happy to have you part of the team. Hey, Mrs. Johnson, I don't know if you'd be interested in this or not, but are you aware we do have a special? Now, maybe they came in on the special. Maybe they didn't. But you know, we have a special right now. It's 4 weeks of classes. We throw in a uniform for only $49. But we find, especially with kids under 12, that if they have someone they know, maybe you, your husband, if he has a sibling, a cousin, Mrs. Johnson, I'll tell you what, even if he has a friend, if you're interested for the 30 days, because they get more motivated, they get more excited, I'll give you 50% off the special. For 25 bucks, I'll throw in a uniform. You can give it to a friend, use it yourself, because he's going to be more pumped up. He's going to feel much more comfortable in class. It can be intimidating starting a martial arts school. And after the 30 days, he's going to be fine. And by the way, maybe you'll love it, or whoever does it will love it, but at least for the first 30 days, it'll be great. I'll give you 50% off now if you want to do that. You want to do that? Well, now it's about the child. I kind of made it like, hey, you can really help out your son. You know, he'll feel more comfortable. This is a little scary. They're always more, very, very easy. Now, for every 10 students you sign up, is it possible one or two of those people, just by saying that, will buy an extra $25 special? But that transaction can turn into thousands of dollars because they may enroll and be a student for the next 5 years. You got to be thinking, how can I get more money per transaction? And these two things go together. More transactions per customer, but if it's going to be a $100 transaction, how can you turn it into a $125 transaction? You got to make a list, and here's what I recommend. Unlike the new students, how do I get more customers? When you make this list, if you really want to create a system and be disciplined, you pick one thing you're going to focus on under more transactions per customer, and one thing you're going to focus on how we can get more money per transaction for the entire month. We're just focusing on one thing from each group. That's it. Because if you focus just on one for 30 days, it will start to become habit for your team or for you. Then next month, you talk to your team. What's the one thing we can focus on now? And make that a habit. At the end of the year, you got a dozen new systems that you're doing. Okay? Now, it's very important on that note, you have to make sure that maybe it's my suit, I don't know. You have to understand the why. This is very, very important. Understand the why. You and your team have to understand why we're doing what we're doing. Now, you may think you understand the why, but talking with you, a lot of us don't. We're not, here's what we're doing. I'm just going to pull up the whole note. Look, here's what we're doing. Don't be a puppet and don't be a puppet master. If I say to you, to myself, like, because you heard Metzger say it, or Silverman, or Parman, or anybody say it, or you're saying it to a team member, hey, I need you to make announcements about private lessons. Yes, sir. Hey, guys, don't forget about, like, they're being a puppet. They just were told what to do, and they're just going out, and now I'm just doing it. Like, I always tell you guys, when you work with me, you got to ask me questions. If you don't believe in it, and you just do what I tell you to do, it will not work. You have to understand why you're doing what you're doing. You have to understand that. Part of that is what I kept saying on the 3 points on growing your business. Don't say to yourself or say to your team, guys, I apologize about that. Don't say to yourself or your team, I need you to go get more flyers out. I need you to go, you need to call all the leads. Or I'm going to call all the leads. Make a list. Collectively, let's focus on what, as a team, we're going to do. And then let's understand why we're doing it. We need to understand why. Well, why are we doing it? Well, you can't fully understand why unless you broke down your goals and we need to hit a target. Where's our target? I know that if I do this parents' night out or seminar, or I do this, or I call these leads, I know statistically in the past, we're going to get 10% of these people to come in. That's going to help me get to my 20 new students or whatever it is. But I'm not just going to work blind. I'm just not going to say, yes, I'm going to do it because I was told to do it by Metzger or Silverman or anyone else. I'm not just going to go do it. I need to really understand, why am I doing that? So you have to make sure everybody understands the why, but the only way to understand that is if everybody on the team understands the common goal of the business. You have to have a common goal of the business. I was having this talk with my wife the other day, and we were talking about goals. It could be for anything. It could be for weight loss. It could be for getting anything. And I said, it would be like you handed me a bow and arrow and say, hey, hit that target. Which target? Where is it? Just hit it. Hit what? Like, I don't even know which direction to start. She can tell me how to pull it back. She can tell me how to let it go. And that's like me just going out and doing something. But I have no idea if I'm going to be, maybe I'll hit the target sometimes. Maybe I'll hit bullseye sometimes. I need to know what our common goal is. I need to know our common goal, and I need to know how to get there and what we need to do to get there. And that's one of the things that we all don't do. We don't track our stats all the time the best way we should. Some of us do. Some of us do. But just collecting all the data and not sharing it and going over it and analyzing it doesn't help us. Okay? This is very important. Brings me to this. Time versus effort versus reward. You should write that down. You need to understand where you're spending your time, how much effort it is taking, and how much reward you're getting from all that time and effort spent. Now listen, this is important. You can't do that unless you're keeping traffic statistics. About 15, 20 years ago, my accountant at the time, who really helped me with business, and you've heard me tell you this, he said to me once, he was looking at all my numbers and stats, and back then, my guys would go out and do flyers, we'd do ad cards, we were doing referral contests all the time, like we were doing all these things to get new students. And he said to me, he's like, I'm looking at this, he says, hey Mike, do you realize that 80% of your new students come from mass intros? And I said to him, and I remember, I said to him, well, I knew it was a lot, I didn't realize it was 80%. And he goes, yeah, it's 80%. I said, huh. And then he looked at me and he said, so why don't you spend 80% of your time doing mass intros as opposed to 20% of your time? Because you're spending all your other time doing this. And I said, that makes sense. And if you work with me, you know what I did. What did I do? On my schedule, on my class schedule, what did I do? Does anyone remember? This was a week ago. Do I actually talk to you guys? On my class schedule, which I do not recommend, but everybody needs to pay attention to what I'm about to say. Don't take it literal. Some of you can do this, but I'm going to paint the picture for you. But on my class schedule, every Saturday at 11 a.m., on the class schedule that goes to students, it's at 11 a.m. Saturday, mass intro. And that's what I did. I had it on there. Every Saturday I did one. And most of you remember this story. It was only about 3 months that my instructors came to me and said, sir, can we stop doing mass intros for a while? We cannot take any more new students into the classes until we have a testing and they go up into intermediates. It's too crowded. It's too packed. Can we stop doing these temporarily? Now let me make sure you understand, and Mr. Tassel and Mr. Parman, they're going to be talking specifically how to do these mass intros, how to funnel people to the mass intros. But one thing I'm going to say is time versus effort versus reward. How many of you ask or wonder how it is that you can get everything done? Like how can I be doing intros, one-on-one intros, and doing upgrades, and talking to retail, and doing customer service? How do you do it all? How many of you sometimes wonder how you can do that better? Anybody? Nobody wonders that? Okay, good. All right. So one of the things we did, because that was my staff too. So to manage our time, and because I knew my traffic stats, and the reason why there was a secret to why, we were being successful here. Now here's the secret to this. We do one-on-one intros. We don't just throw people in class. Okay? And I'm not saying that's, some of my schools do, by the way, because of the layout and everything else, but most of the time we do one-on-one intros. Well, my staff was saying, when I would say, hey, did you talk to so-and-so about doing the upgrade? No, because I was with the new student appointment at that time, and I was doing this at that time. Or Mrs. Johnson came in, she was talking to me about her son. It was always something. She said, I don't know how to do it. I said, you know what? We're only going to do intros then on Monday or Tuesday. That's it. I said, anybody from Tuesday evening that calls to Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we're done doing intros. You're going to tell them about our special event we have this Saturday, and you're going to invite them to come to the event. And we're not going to bog ourselves down doing new student appointments constantly during the week. So anyone who calls on Tuesday night, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and they're inquiring about information, say, hey, you know what? You're lucky you called. We happen to have a free event this Saturday on blank, 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 blank. Now my team was able to focus on customer service and student value and upgrades and everything else, and every Saturday we'd have a mass intro. That cut down on our student value, because you'll learn later about the deal and everything else that we do at a mass intro. But you want more students? Quantity of students went up. And if you're at a school where it's a critical level, if you're a school below 100 students, you may want to focus on quantity temporarily, but listen to what I said. You don't have to take that literal. You could talk to me or one of your consultants about that more. But depending on your workforce and your staff, that might be an answer for you if you're not able to service your existing clients as well as you want because you're always busy dealing with the new client. Everybody understand that? Okay. Any questions on that? Because I'm going to jump into something else. Okay? Yeah, I didn't even start yet. That was my warm-up. All right. So, very quickly, I need to hit this right now. And tomorrow, I got some really good stuff, but I need to hit this right now. If you were here in October in Nashville, we were in Nashville in October. Do you remember when we were talking about the holiday sale? And if you remember, I said, well, how many of you... Now, for those of you, it's your first time at an elite seminar, some of you, the holiday sale is 4 hours. Like when you do it my way or our way, it's 4 hours, one day, 4 hours. And I said in Nashville when we went through it, A to Z, I said, how many of you at your holiday sale generated $5,000 or more in cash, not in accounts receivables or contract amount, $5,000 in cash, raise your hand. And we had hands go up. And then I said 10,000, and then we had some hands go up. Then I said 20,000, it started thinning out. And 30, and thin. But now, let me just ask you, for those of you who had a holiday sale, I just want you to do this because this is important, because the holiday sale success starts right now. It starts in January, and I'm going to explain this real quick, and then I'm done. We'll take a little break. Stand up if you generated $10,000 or more in cash in 4 hours of your holiday sale. Stand up. Take a look around. Stay standing. If you generated $10,000 in cash or more in 4 hours, stand up. Now, if I call a number and you're not in that, sit down. $15,000. $20,000. Look at this, $20,000, $25,000. Look around, look at everywhere, $25,000 or more. 24, 571.90. Yeah. $50,000. $60,000. 70. 100. 120,000. 130,000. 135,000. Okay. Nice. Here's my point. The point is The $10,000 mark is like commonplace now. And you have to believe the system. And I'm not here to teach holiday sale. But one thing that people didn't understand that I'm going to tell you and why it starts right now is I've practiced this, and I know that there's some people's hands are tied and all that stuff. I understand. But to have a successful holiday sale, there's two things. And I'm going to talk, I don't even know if I put this on the agenda. Mr. Tassel actually asked me to speak about upgrades. I don't even know if I am or not. Yeah, I am, aren't I? I think so. Because he said a lot of people were asking. And by the way, for those of you who have heard the upgrade talk, we're still not doing it perfectly, because here's the thing. You should be upgrading 5% of your student body every month. So if you have 100 students, you should be getting 5 upgrades a month. If you have about 200 students, you should be getting 10 upgrades a month, number one. And you should be, as far as your new students go, for cash flow and student value, you want 20% of your people to pay in full. If I enroll 10 students, I want 2 to pay in full and 8 of them to go onto my billing. 8 go on billing, 2 pay in full. A pay in full, I don't care if it's 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, but in my case, it's 12 months. For most of you, it's 12 months. 2, and I'm not going to sit here and teach you how to make that happen. There's a way. You don't just say, would you like to pay in full? Please. That's not it. There's a way. We'll talk about that on the phone with your consultant or whatever. But here's the secret to the holiday sale. If you get 5 upgrades a month, and all you get is 10 new students a month, or maybe you get 5 new students. Let's say you get 5 new students a month and you do 5 upgrades a month. That's it. Okay? 2 of those people are going to pay in full, in theory. And by the way, it's easy to get 3 the next month or 4 if you're behind over the course of a year. But if all you have is 5 new students and 5 upgrades, which that's low, right? We got to get that up. But I'm using the worst case scenario. In theory, by the end of the year, you got 24 people in your school. Let's say 4 of them quit. Now remember, when people pay in full, they stay longer because it's paid for, right? They lost their job. Johnny gets bored. Hey, Johnny, I paid for it. I lost my job. Well, it's already paid for, right? So in theory, you have 24 people. Let's just say for numbers, for math, you have 20 people at the end of the year, okay? And I only use the word 5. Technically, I'd like to see 10 new students and 10 upgrades where you have 48 people at the end of the year and you have 40. But let's say you have 20 people. If you have an upgrade program or service or package, now what's an upgrade? Anything you want. An upgrade can be, hey, we have an upgrade program where you can come the second day a week, like the guy who doesn't have upgrades, right? Or an upgrade program can be, we have an upgrade service where once a month you're going to get this 3-hour seminar that's normally $50, but for just $20 extra a month, you can come every month. I mean, there's a million different ways we can create an upgrade. But at the end of the day, you got 20 people. Out of the 20 people, my average upgrade program is about $3,000 because they'll either just renew again for a year, let's say. Maybe they renew their regular, they already paid in full for a year. Some do $5,000 master's clubs. Actually, it's probably more like $4,000. My average is probably $4,000. So at the holiday sale, I have 20 people in my school that have paid in full. 50% of them quit. Now I only have 10. Out of those 10 people that I know who can afford it, the average price, some did $5,000, some did $2,500, some did $4,000, whatever. Let's say it's $3,000. Those 10 people at an average price of $3,000, I just generated $30,000 in cash, and how much did my billing get affected? 0. People think that I teach people to cash people out. That means if my billing's at $20,000 a month and I cash all these people out, now I have $30,000, but now my billing went from $20,000 to $15,000. I don't like that. That's why you have to start thinking like this now, because those are nobody on your billing. You go after those people first that have already paid you in full, that never were on your billing. Now for the holidays, your company gets to put 30, well, you saw the numbers, I don't have to say it, 30,000, 40,000, 60,000, 130,000, without making a big impact on your billing. And that's why it's really important that I wanted to hit that now. Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone have any questions? We're good? Everybody understand? Well, I am darn good at this, aren't I? What? Or I lost it. Raise your hand if I lost you. All right. See me after dinner tonight. All right. Guys, take a 5-minute break, get a drink, use the restroom. Nice job, everybody.
Testing, testing, testing. Have a seat, please. All right, everybody down in push-up position. All right. All right. As I promised, Mr. Parman is going to lead off with talking about new members. Again, it's something we all need. I know it's something we all want. The question is how much do we need, how much do we want? But any which way, Mr. Beard has a good quote. There's no problem in your school that enough new members can't fix. That really is true. I mean, it really. See, at least I remembered to give you credit for that one, if not the whole other sheets that I stole. So, guys. Also, let me tell you, as soon as Mr. Parman is done, it'll be a stand and stretch break. Okay, literally for 3 minutes, and then we'll go into the next seminar. But if I could, everybody give it up for Mr. Adam Parman.
All right. Can everybody hear me? All right, excellent. Hopefully we've ironed out our technical difficulties, so we'll see here. All right. So we're going to start off by talking about new members. On this particular topic, myself and Mr. Tassel are going to be a little bit of a tag team. He'll be coming up tomorrow and be completing a little bit of what I'm going to set the stage for. We're going to talk about new members, specifically through mass enrollments, mass intros. But we're going to take a little bit of a different approach. So he's going to be talking about mass intros in the way of 4-week courses and how to drive from 4-week or 2-week courses into your school through a mass, and then he's going to talk about the mass enrollment in terms of the close. And I thought we got rid of it. With that being said, I'm going to talk about mass enrollment, but I'm going to specifically talk about other events besides 4-week courses today, and how to market those events, how to get large groups of potential new students in your door. And I'm going to, if we have the time, we're going to cover the actual event itself, what you're going to teach in the class and how to teach it, how to sell the benefits, and then he's going to talk about the close. All right, everybody got it? So, perfect, excellent. The first thing that we need to discuss when we talk about getting new enrollments, number one, is you have to learn how to master and create and maintain a consistent marketing plan each and every single month. That is imperative for the success of your school. It's not just about doing one mass intro. It's about having lots of different ways that we're marketing our school each and every month that are driving new members into our door. This is just one of a larger strategy to get to the enrollment numbers that you're looking for. So years ago, I used to work for Bill Clark under Joe Corley Karate. Not affiliated with ATA at all, but Master Clark always said, I can't tell you one way to enroll 20 new members, but I can tell you 20 ways to enroll 20 new members. And that really we have to learn how to master that. With that said, mass enrollments can drive and create opportunities of 4, 5, 14 new enrollments from a single event. So if we combine that with our other strategies of marketing our school, then we can consistently start enrolling higher volumes and numbers of students into our door. And that's what we want to talk about today. So, as a result, this year I took a new focus with my team and my employees. And so we really set out our goal for marketing. And with that, we have our three strategies, our three different groups. We have our internal marketing. We have our, which is everything we do with our existing students to get referrals and get new members with our buddy days and those type of activities. We have our external marketing. So those are all the things we do outside the doors of the martial arts school in the community that are going to generate leads and ultimately convert to enrollment. And then we have our paid marketing strategies, where you're creating an ad, you're doing a proof. So those are things like your website, your Facebook, your social media marketing. If you're doing any kind of direct mail, all of that would fall under your paid category. And so we've been doing those for years, and we consistently are hitting our enrollment numbers. But I wanted to put a little more of a focus to break it down and make it easier for my staff and have more of a focused approach to marketing at the beginning of this year. So we set out a goal, and here's what I told my staff. I wanted us to focus on doing one buddy day event every single month. I wanted us to focus on doing one mass intro, and that our marketing strategy every month had to include doing 2 birthday parties every single month. Now, not just those things. We still have all of the other ways through our referrals and the other things that we're doing with our paid marketing. However, I made it very clear to my staff that every single month we had to do those 3 things. 1 buddy event, 1 mass intro, and 2 birthday parties. And since we implemented that over the, obviously the last 2 months, January and February, in January, we did 28 new enrollments at my Town Lake School. And then in the month of February, they've done 32 enrollments for the month so far, with a student body of 160 students. All right? So with that being said, having that little more of a focused approach to our marketing strategy has really helped take our team to that next level. And a big part of that is doing that 1 mass intro event each and every single month. So that's our focus. So with that being said, let's make sure we define and we know what a mass intro is. Ultimately, a mass intro is a scheduled basic introductory lesson done for a large group of potential students in which you're going to offer a special enrollment offer good for that day and that day only. So step number 1 to a mass intro is picking your theme. So there's several different themes that we can go with. The first one is based on movies. So a lot of us do our movie promotions, right? Movie theater promotions. So we had Star Wars, and then recently Kung Fu Panda. We've got the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie coming out the 1st of June. So all of those should definitely be on your radar as a way of marketing your school. All right? So we're going to pick our movie theater workshop. It's going to coordinate with whatever the hottest blockbuster movie is out, and then we're going to use that to market. Other types of mass intros, we could focus more on kids safety. So depending on the time of the year, we can do a Halloween safety seminar, a summer safety seminar, a back to school safety seminar, stranger danger, internet safety. All of these are topics that we can do throughout the year as opportunities to promote in our community and get a large group of people for a mass intro at your school. When school gets underway, you've got your Success for School seminars So your focus for better grades, kids' confidence, goal setting for better grades, 20 ways to respect your teacher or your parent. So all of these can be different ideas to go along with your theme. Or you have your self-defense themes or your reality training themes. So if you're primarily an adult school, Mr. Beard is going to talk about, he does a phenomenal event, his active shooter event, and he's going to talk a lot about that in just a few minutes. And coming up, that's an opportunity for a mass enrollment. So if you're primarily an adult-based school, or you're looking for an adult-based workshop, that's a perfect one. He's going to give you lots of details about that. For your kids, a bully-proof seminar, stranger danger. For adults, carjacking. So what we want to do is if we want to do a self-defense or a reality training seminar as an opportunity for a mass enrollment, we just want to make sure that we focus on current events. What's going on? How can people relate to our product, martial arts? All right? So a lot of us in the past have made mistakes where it's a great topic for our existing students, but it's not a great topic for anyone that's not in the martial arts. So I'm not going to focus and market a Kali or our niece seminar, because if I'm not in the martial arts world, I've never done martial arts before, I have no clue what those are. That doesn't mean anything to me. That's a great topic for your existing students as part of an upgrade or income generator type seminar. Not good for a prospect marketing. Does that make sense? Everybody see the difference? Excellent. So once I pick my theme, now the next thing I need to do is I need to pick my dates, and I need to market the event. So there's several different ways that we're going to focus on marketing the event. Number one, create a booth opportunity. If I'm promoting a movie theater, a movie theme mass intro, then I'm going to get a booth at my local movie theater. If I'm promoting a back to school seminar, then I need to look and schedule a school talk presentation or get in the schools to help promote that and drive that back to my mass intro. If I'm doing something that's just open to the community, whether it's adults or kids, then I need to look at getting a booth at a community event or at a local festival. So the first key to your booth is you've got to make it interactive. And when I say interactive, we've got to get a reason for them to want to come over to the booth. And one of the things that I know a lot of us in this room use a lot is the prize wheel. And there's nothing wrong with using a prize wheel. But please understand that I'm going to have a higher success if they experience the product I'm trying to sell. So a prize wheel gets a lot of people over to your booth. But why are they coming to the booth? Is it to experience martial arts? No, it's to spin a wheel and see what kind of free stuff that you're going to give out, right? Does everybody agree with that? I mean, that's what a prize wheel is all about, right? And it works. We can get people over to the booth, but it doesn't necessarily engage them or get them sold on the product we have to sell, which is martial arts lessons. So when I say make your booth interactive, make sure that you make it interactive with what you're selling. If you sell martial arts, what do I need to be doing at the booth? Everybody say it loud. Martial arts. You need to somehow get them to experience martial arts. That's going to be the key. All right? Whether they're coming over to break one of the wafer-thin confidence boards, to hit a target, to punch Bob, all of those are opportunities for them to experience martial arts. So if I'm selling martial arts, is it going to be easier to sell them on martial arts if they just experienced it? Yes, absolutely, to get that excitement up. All right? So when you make your booth interactive, there's nothing wrong with posing with the stormtrooper. Don't worry, we do that too. But then from there, I need to do something martial arts related with them as well. For our booths, our main focus is to collect leads and funnel that group of leads to my mass intro. So with the booths, we talked about opportunities with your theaters, your different festivals, whether it's your school-related festivals through your PTA or your local school system that are held at the school, or whether those festivals are held at through your local parks and recs or community centers or city governments. All right? Those are all avenues you need to explore and look for opportunities to get a booth and then funnel them back to a mass intro. Community events. So a lot of you in the past have heard about getting into Easter egg hunts, and we've all went out and purchased the plastic Easter eggs and put our marketing material in it and donated those, all right? And while we get some calls off of that, we don't get a lot of calls off of those, right? But last year, one of my schools had the opportunity. They said, hey, we would love to donate a few hundred Easter eggs to your Easter egg hunt. But if we do that, we have a booth at your Easter egg hunt. So look, start thinking outside the box. Look for different community events. So this year, we already have 3 different Easter egg hunts. 3 different Easter egg hunts that were scheduled. Not only are we donating the eggs, but more importantly, the eggs are just an excuse to get permission. Perfect, thank you, sir. The eggs are just an excuse to get permission to have a booth at the event. Does that make sense to everybody? Perfect. And then what's our goal at the booth? Make it interactive, let them experience martial arts, and collect the leads, funnel them to the mass intro. All right? Local businesses are a great place for booths. So back to school time, we hit up all the office supply stores. We get permission to promote our back to school Success for Kids seminar. And we have it set up. In the past, if it's a free community event, we've built a relationship with our local manager at Walmart, and he'll let us set up outside the store as long as we're promoting it for free. He'll let us set up in front of Walmart. We've gotten set up in front of Target in the past on a weekend to have a booth opportunity. All right, so looking for different local businesses that are high volume businesses that will give you permission to promote a free community seminar. All right. The second way we're going to promote our mass intro is through Facebook. Now, most recently, at my Town Lake School, we did 14 new enrollments. And that was a combination of our theater booth and our promotion through Facebook to drive them to the mass intro. For Kung Fu Panda, we ended up enrolling, I believe it was 9 or 10 from Kung Fu Panda, doing the same strategy. So a lot of times, even if I don't have an opportunity through booth, I can still drive a lot of traffic through Facebook. All right, and we're going to talk about the details. But anytime I can combine multiple ways, like booth and Facebook combined, then I'm just going to get a larger number of people to my mass intro. So for our Facebook marketing, we had our theme, and we took out an ad, click to website, was our focus. and we promoted a free community event. So it was our Star Wars Jedi training, and then for Kung Fu Panda, it was our Kung Fu Panda workshop. But this could be for any topic, right? It could be active shooter. Doesn't matter what it is. This is a system, all right? We did click to website. I did a lifetime of $250. And for our Star Wars, we actually only ran it for 3 days. For a Kung Fu Panda, we ran it for an entire week. Now, with my Star Wars, the reason that we didn't run it for an entire week was this was a new idea. We had to test the waters. I was literally, on a Saturday, had to go up and relieve one of my employees. I had a gap that I didn't have any employees to be able to work the booth at the theater. And when I arrived Saturday afternoon and I looked at the sign-up sheets, it was less than desirable. We had, at the time, we had like less than 60 leads. And normally over the weekend of a movie theater, we'll come away with 120 leads. So at that point, I went into panic mode because the last thing that I'm going to do is let it affect my ultimate result. So when my instructor arrived to take over, I grabbed my laptop, and in the front of the movie theater lobby, I got on the computer and I literally created the ad for Facebook and linked it to a free online form. Now, a lot of you, if you use Rainmaker, I know they have a form generator that you can create for registrations for a seminar, or if you're using like Member Solutions. If you don't have that availability, there's a lot of free online form generators. So you can say what kind of form you want what information you want to collect: first name, last name, telephone number, child's name, child's age, email address, right? And then when they click the button, they're going to get an email confirmation saying they're registered for the free seminar. The one that we used is called Jotform, JOTFORM.com. There's a paid version. You don't need it. You can totally use the free version, and it works just great for what you need. But I literally was able to set up the online form in less than an hour, and that was only because of the learning curve. I can do it in about 10 minutes at this point. Uploaded my images and started my Facebook ad. And in running it for 3 days, I set my lifetime budget at $250. It never reached my lifetime budget. I think I spent about $200. I had 39 registrations just from Facebook alone to come to the seminar. All right. When we did this for Kung Fu Panda, we had 43 register, and we spent less than $200 on Facebook ad, and we had 43 register from Facebook. So they saw the ad, they clicked on it, took them to the registration page, they filled it out, and submitted the form, and we had their contact information. All right? Our goals, and looking at our numbers, we're averaging right at 55% show ratio to our mass intros. This is just from our Facebook marketing. Just looking at Facebook, we have about 55% show, and then we have a 21% conversion. So if I get 39 people to register for my Star Wars Jedi training seminar, we had 21 show up, and that equaled 5 enrollments for a total of $200 spent. And that's just through Facebook. So that didn't include all of my leads that I was getting from my booths. Okay? And then, of course, another way of promoting your mass enrollment is a little more old school, but it certainly works. And that's through flyers and postcards put in your local businesses. If you know me, all of my guys, they get a box of 5,000 postcards every single month. And it is their responsibility to put stacks of 15 or 20 cards in local businesses each and every month. It's a given. If they don't do that task by the end of the month, then the following month they have to get rid of their new 5,000 plus the old, and they're going to get written up. If they don't do it consistently, then we're looking for somebody new. That's just part of our marketing, putting those flyers out in the community each and every month. So we're using those three main sources: booths, Facebook marketing, and flyers and ad cards to drive people to once per month to a themed mass intro. Everybody got it? Excellent. Step 3, and this is the most crucial part to your mass intro, is your confirmation. So many of you guys do all the work. You have your staff running booths at movie theaters. You pay for the marketing, and then nobody's out there following up with the leads. You've got to follow up with the leads between the time that they commit to the time they show up for the mass intro. So here's our system. Upon registration, they get an email confirmation. Now, what we started doing is, because we're setting up and promoting the different workshops or the themes for our mass intros on Facebook, then there's already a registration form that we have to create for them to be able to register from the Facebook ad. So anytime we have an opportunity to do a booth, then all we do is we have tablets out there with the web page, the registration page pulled up on the tablets, and we're handing the tablets out instead of the clipboards. Now, we could use the clipboards, but we started going to the tablets because a lot of times I can't read all the information. All right? Has everybody had that happen to you, right? You get all these leads and you can't decipher the handwriting, right? Or, and all of this always happens when you're running a big booth event, is you got your clipboard out and you're collecting leads, and somebody doesn't put down their phone number, and then the next 5 people that get that same list conveniently don't put their phone number, because it's like, oh, well, the person before me didn't do it. I guess I don't have to either, right? And we try to catch that as staff, and we'll write in the school's telephone number so the next person will put in theirs. But inevitably that happens to us. When it's an online form, you can create required fields. So you can't submit that form unless that field is complete, right? So not only can we better read the information, but we get all the information complete every single time, all right? So it really helped us get a better quality lead than just handing the clipboards out as well, all right? So when they click the submit button to register, they're automatically getting an email confirmation with directions and a confirmation for the seminar and the date and the time. Then 2 days prior to the event, my staff is going to be calling every single person that's registered. So we're picking up the telephones, and we're either leaving voicemail messages or confirming with a person if they answer the phone. The night before, we do a second email saying, looking forward to seeing you tomorrow for, and then all the information along with directions and a link to our school's website. And then the day of the event, we're doing a text message confirmation. By a show of hands, how many in here are using text messaging to confirm all their appointments? Raise your hands. Whoa, there's not near enough hands raised. All right, put your hands down. If you're not confirming your appointments through text messaging, then you're missing out, in all honesty. You don't have to have a cell phone, and I would never expect my staff to use their personal cell phones to confirm appointments. All right? There are lots of free programs that you download and run on your desktop computer at the school, where you type in the telephone number, you type in the school's telephone number, so when you send the text, it sends it as if it was your school's telephone number. So when it shows up from them, it's your school's telephone number. So if they turn around and call, guess who it's calling? It's not calling my staff's personal cell phone, it's calling the school's number. And if they respond to the text, it emails me, it sends me an email of whatever they responded, okay? There's lots of different ones out there. A few of the programs, and we've experimented, we've used quite a few. There's a lot of free applications out there for you, but we've used Text Drop. It's TXT, so no E, TXTDROP.com, textdrop.com. And that one is you're actually going to do from your internet browser. So you just pull up an internet browser and it sends it to you, so there's no program to download or install. But there's quite a few others out there as well. So just do your research. Go in, put in free text messaging, and use a few of them out there and see which one you like the best. All right? So yes, there's lots of programs you can pay for to do that, but you don't have to. It's free. All right? So with that strategy and those confirmations, we're getting a 55% show ratio consistently to our mass enrollments. Whereas if you had asked me a year ago, I would have loved to have hit 50%, but the truth was we were probably getting a much lower percentage. And to be honest with you, I know my guys were fudging some of their numbers because they were embarrassed to say the real percentages. But we were hitting more like 20 to 30% at best. All right? So since we went to that strategy, I can say with 100% certainty we're right at 55% is what we've averaged to our mass enrollment. Of that, our conversion rate has been right at 21% conversion. All right? So let's talk about the actual event itself. So now that I've picked my theme and my date, I've marketed it, I've got a large group of people coming to my school. And let me back up for just a quick second. When we set that date, we want to set it at a time that's going to be convenient for non-students. So Mr. Metzer says it all the time. So that's going to be a Friday evening or Saturday morning is going to work best. All right? Obviously, you have existing classes and other things to think about. So not everybody has it. But over the course of years of doing mass enrollments, Friday night at between 6, 6:30 or 7 o'clock seems to work the best. And Saturday morning, 10 a.m. We have the highest percentage show up when we schedule them for those two times. At my school, we do it at 6:30 Friday evening. We find that seems to work the best. Once I've got them in, as they walk through the door, I'm going to need a minimum of 3 staff members to work a mass intro and do it the right way. I'm going to have a registration table set up. That could be at your front desk. We actually find that it's easier, especially when we're expecting high volumes of people, to actually set up a table right outside the front door of the school. So as they walk up onto the curb, I already have a table set up there. And I need that really outgoing, bubbly personality at that table. Somebody that has a great greeting, is going to put a smile on that person's face, and is going to be their first impression for this prospect. All right? So typically that's going to be my program director or front receptionist. All right? And often what I find, especially if you, as you get better and better at marketing your mass intros, you're going to need more than one person at that table. So at all of our events, I try to have at least 2 people at that table. And we're going to have multiple clipboards with registration forms. So as they walk up, we're going to greet them. And we're going to be handing mom or dad a clipboard to complete. And we're going to be filling out name tags with each of the children's names or adults, if it's an adult-based. And everybody gets a name tag. Why is that? So that way when they go into the school and they interact with my other staff members, we can call them by name. We can start building some rapport. That's a very important element. All right, so I want everybody to have name tags. Along with that, when they give us the clipboard, then we're going to be handing them a welcome letter. The welcome letter is going to just have some generic information about our school. We're so glad you're attending our Kung Fu Panda event or our active shooter event, whatever the theme may be. And then there's going to be, and I'm going to pre-frame what makes our program uniquely different. I need to sell them on the benefit. I need to pre-frame them on the benefits. So in that letter, you need to have what the benefits are for your school. What makes you unique? That needs to be in there. Thank you, sir. And stapled to that is going to be a copy of our class schedule, and all of our beginner class times are going to be highlighted. So they're going to get that packet, and they're going to proceed into the school. As they proceed into the school, I'm going to have an instructor greeting them at the door, showing the kids where to take off their shoes and line up on the mat, and showing the parents where to sit. I always like that +1 customer service. So we always have chilled bottled waters. We have a little cooler there. In my schools, we have the little fridge, the beverage fridge with water, and we're handing them a cold water as they walk in or offering that to the parents. Kids are taking off their shoes, they're lining up on the mat, and then I have an assistant instructor on the mat to make sure the kids are sitting down, feet crossed, hands in their lap. If it's for an adult-based seminar, obviously we're not having them sit down, feet crossed, all right? But we'll kind of gather them, maybe do some light stretches or just kind of break the ice, get to know them a little bit. And that's going to be the job of that assistant instructor. The key is to make it look like a martial arts school. The last thing, if we teach personal discipline and you walk in and there's a whole bunch of kids running all over the mat, that doesn't show personal discipline. It's going to be hard to sell them on that benefit, right? So I need it to look what we sell. Additionally, we're going to have some music going on the mat, something fun, upbeat, something that will set the tone for whatever type of seminar we're doing. At our Star Wars mass intro, what kind of music was it? Star Wars, of course. All right? Kung Fu Panda, it was Kung Fu Panda soundtrack. All right? If it's adult, then obviously I need to make sure the music is appropriate for whatever group will be coming in. All right? From that point, I'm going to do my welcome speech. So as soon as most everyone is there, and there's going to be a few stragglers coming in, the people that are late, we're just going to get them onto the mat and grab them a set point. It's okay. Don't make them feel uncomfortable for being late. It's totally fine. Take off your shoes. Let's get you in. All right? With that being said, right as most everybody is there, and we typically start punctually 2 or 3 minutes late intentionally because we know everybody's still arriving, and especially if I look out and there's a line of 5 or 6 people waiting to fill out their registration forms, I'm going to take a little bit longer getting the workshop started to give them extra time to get in, and I'm just going to tell everybody that's there. But when I'm ready to start, I'm going to do my welcome speech. So I'm going to welcome everybody there. Thank you for coming to this event and making it such a success. At our martial arts schools, it's more than just punches and kicks. We focus on teaching the life lessons and benefits. And obviously, if it's for kids, I'm going to talk about respect, personal discipline, confidence. If it's my adults, I want to talk about all the benefits that adults look to gain from the program, right? I want to talk about flexibility, talk about strength, meeting friends, all that stuff. So I need to sell the benefits to the group that I'm at. And then, this is the most important part, then I'm going to tell them a lot of people as we spoke to you over the telephone and we were confirming your attendance today, were asking about our program. Hopefully you've received a welcome letter. Attached to that is a copy of our class schedule with our beginner class times highlighted. Please take a look at that as we do today's workshop. At the very end of our program, we'll tell you a little more about how our new students get started. And if this is something you're interested in for yourself or one of your family members, we have a special enrollment offer for today and today only, and we'll give you more details towards the end of today's event. So I'm going to pre-frame them for the enrollment conference at the very end. That is crucial. If I don't do that, and then at the very end of my event, I just go into my close, we call it financial self-defense. Everybody puts their hands in their pocket, they grab hold of their wallet, and you're not getting the enrollment, I can assure you. So it's really important that we pre-frame that in advance as part of that welcome speech. And then we're going to get started with the class. Listen, I don't care what the theme is, whether it's Jedi training, whether it's Kung Fu Panda, whether it's active shooter. It doesn't matter your theme. You're going to treat it just like you would any introductory lesson. All right? Now, you may be doing a little bit of different stuff with it. Obviously, Mr. Beer is going to give you lots of great ideas for the active shooter seminar. But you need to make sure they're experiencing the product you're trying to sell. All right? We do this with birthday parties. We do it with seminars. I can get a whole lot of kids in my school, put a whole bunch of plastic lightsabers in their hand. They can swing it all around. And they'll have and I can put on a great event and they leave my school. But if they didn't experience the punches and kicks, if mom and dad weren't hearing them say the yes sirs and no sirs to show the respect, or I didn't focus on the personal discipline when they were at attention and being super still with their eyes focused, and I don't tie that in to home and at school, they're going to go away going, wow, that was a great event. What they're not going to do is go away going, Mom, I want to do martial arts. Or as an adult, wow, I'd really like to get involved in that martial arts program. All right, everybody understand? It's very important. Don't change it. You just incorporate your intro along with your theme. So I'm going to do my standard introductory lesson, just like I would with one person with 20. And then I'm going to add some additional content in the middle to go along with my theme. All right, so we're going to do about a 20-minute intro. We're going to do some content for another 10 to 15 minutes to coordinate with the theme. And then we're going to come back. If it's for kids, we're going to let them break a board. Obviously, for adults, we're not getting them out to break a board. All right? But I'm just going to wrap up. Just like you would an adult intro, you're going to end it the exact same, focusing on the benefits and making sure they're seeing the benefits from what you're teaching on the floor. All right? Everybody got it? Excellent, excellent. This is where I'm going to stop. Number one, because I'm out of time. Number two, because this is where Mr. Tassel tomorrow is going to follow up and he's going to talk about 4-week courses driving to the mass intros, and then he's going to talk about the close and how to close the mass intro. Excellent. This is going to be a real quick get up, kind of stretch. Don't go anywhere. And everybody welcome Mr. Beard.
Facebook.
When we come up.
All right, everybody, if I can. That doesn't sound loud. Can I get everybody to grab a seat? Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. All right, everybody grab a seat, including Mr. Shane Tassel. Well, he's helping him, guys. It's a joke. Oh, my Lord. Ooh, but they had your back. Can y'all hear? This doesn't sound good. Hello? Yeah, I think it's got to be a little bit. Turn down for what? All right, guys. Here, I guess maybe I'm going deaf. I don't know. All right, here we go. So about a month ago, for those of you who know, Mr. Beard used to be a consultant with Maya for since way back in the beginning. Took a little year or so to off, and has been doing stuff with us again. So we're very glad to have him back speaking. And we've always stayed in touch. You know, we've always been friends throughout everything. So, but he called me up and says, "Hey, man, I was thinking." He says, "Would you like me to do a seminar on active shooters?" Who does not know what an active shooter is? Okay, it's a term given to. It's very unfortunate that we have even a term for it. It's ridiculous, to be honest. For when you open up the news, like just happened 2 days ago. Was it last night? I'm even mixing up my days. Last night, somebody just gets out and starts shooting people. Right? Okay. So at any rate, he says, this came after, I think right after the Paris tragedy. He said, I've been working on this seminar, did it at my school on active shooter. And I said, man, it would be really cool if you would come and share that with everybody here on 2 levels. One, I know people like when we're active, okay? We're out there doing things. We can't do it. We just don't have the room here, which was originally how we started. I mean, he risked his life bringing all these pretend guns with them on an airplane at this point, which as I'm going through this, I don't know how bright I really think it is that we're having pretend guns here in the airport, but at any rate, but also I said, I don't want to try and monetize something, but that's we have to. We're a business, and is there a way to get new members possibly from this? And by the way, if that's an offensive deal, I get that. Forget monetizing it. What a service you can provide for your community, and do it for free every day, all day if you can. So he's going to do a quasi-interactive course. I'm not going to spoil it for him, but even more unfortunate that we have a term called active shooter. When things are relevant, it's really... It's powerful. And I don't know, being at the seminar, you might not even know, but did you hear that there was an active shooter just last night in Kansas? So he'll talk about that, which makes this really relevant. You got to be a little careful. Just so you know, I'll just say this one thing. Every now and then you see somebody gets mugged, and then we do a self-defense seminar. Well, that makes sense. Some child gets molested, then we do a seminar to help prevent that. That gets a little edgy. I don't know if this happens and you run out and do a seminar the next day, charging money at least, I don't know. But I'm going to leave that up to Mr. Beard. But guys, we're real happy that he's here with us again and on this weekend. Give it up for Robbie Beard. And he'll be very proud from none other than Memphis, Tennessee. That's an internal joke for us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir. All right, the word is awesome. How's everybody doing today? Oh, no. I know y'all are going to suffer through this for that free meal, right? Okay. So awesome is the word. How's everybody doing? Okay, I got to have some energy because I'm getting hungry. And so Mr. Silverman hit it, guys. You know, one thing I realized is, before I even jump in this too far, is I found it interesting in Memphis, and really in the South, there's like a church on every corner. And it's like literally on every corner of the church and other corners liquor store. I don't know how that works out. But what I find really interesting is they all have the same curriculum. They're teaching out of the same book, but some are real big with a lot of members and some are real small with a lot of members. Of course, the small ones talk about how bad the big ones are, and the big ones talk about how the smaller ones should get better, right? Well, one thing I realized is like, why is that? Why is what, if they have the same curriculum, here we are in martial arts, we all punch and kick, we have basically the same curriculum, how come there's some really big schools and some small schools? What about that? Well, one thing I realized, if you watch Joel Osteen, and really I start to watch him a little bit, and I watch a couple other different people, and I'll start to pick up things that these guys do, is they tie the curriculum into your world. They tie it into your world. What is going on? They'll have the sermon today is going to be on patience through your marriage and your relationships you build, and you're sitting there going, this is what I need. They're just using the Bible and as a vehicle to help us. That's the one. So, and that's what I want to do with martial arts, whether it's our kids program, brushing your teeth. When you put that seatbelt on, you're practicing your down block. That's what we should teach. Oh, yeah, it's a down block, but what are they going to be able to use at home, right? Well, it's the same thing in our adult programs. We got to be able to give these guys something that they can take into the real world. And so there's a lot of stuff that we teach: carjacking scenarios, home invasions. I just did a big pepper spray class. I had like 60 people in that pepper spray class on how to pepper spray. I was like, got it. See you next week. Okay. But I want to teach them the stances and how to stand and how to move their feet. Ooh, karate stuff, right? That's what we're going to do. And then the idea is to implement. And this is the hardest part, guys. In your curriculum, I really suggest that you start to implement, not change, but you need to implement some of these strategies into your curriculum, okay? Even if it's your higher level belts. In my school, we don't really do gun disarms until you've been with me for a couple years before we really get into that. But it's there, okay? So when I do because the worst thing you want to do is have a women's self-defense class or a carjacking scenario. They come learn all these fun, cool moves, and then you say, hey, did you do the mass intro like Mr. Parman was talking about? They come back Monday to try another class, and you're can't hardly do it with the suit on, but you know what I mean? You're doing all this, or like, that's nothing like what the cool stuff we did with the guns and the sticks and the knives, right? So I'm not saying not to do that. But have it in your mind, you got to be able to educate the people when they come test drive the pickup truck. When they come back and you got them in a different vehicle, they may be confused. So start to tie in gun disarms, whatever, carjacking, rape prevention for your jiu-jitsu school. I love having seminars, how to never be held down again. Use powerful statements like that, how to never be held down again. I'm teaching Oompa, I'm teaching elbow escape, I'm teaching some different jiu-jitsu. No, it doesn't even really matter what style you're doing, okay? Now, I do want to kind of get into, okay, why an active shooter class, all right? Well, just like Mr. Silverman said, it was just, coincidence that yesterday there was one in Chicago where 4 people were killed, including the gunman. But really, I pulled some FBI stats for you too, just I think it's interesting. Between 2000 and 2013, there was 160 shootings, okay? And if you take that 160 divided by that 13, that means there's pretty much one a month. One a month. Okay, out of those 160 incidents, there was 1,000. They called them casualties, meaning that injuries. But I'm going to get to the people who were killed. There's 486 people killed, which is about 3 a month on active shooters. Okay, so there's been an active shooting situation in 40 of the 50 states, mostly in schools, and I think actually mostly would be in businesses, work environment, that type of thing. The schools would fall in there too. But so it's a very relative topic. Another thing is, okay, now we know kind of why we want to do it. What's some other reasons why we want to visit this topic? Well, number one is great retention for your school. So when I did this first thing, I really kind of didn't know how to do it. I just wanted to do it because I felt like it was an important topic. So what I did, and I'm going to give you a couple ways, but what I did is I said, look, December's a slow month for most martial arts schools. For the next 6 to 8 weeks, I want to just do nothing but gun disarms in our classes, in our adult program, in our adult classes. And I mean gun from the front, gun to the back, gun to the side, gun to your head, hostage on your knees, third-party gun, long gun, AR-15, shotgun, AK-4, I mean guns. We're going to do guns, okay? And so, I mean, where my students are sick of guns. That's what I wanted, right? So we did this, and then we have what I call the scenario training, okay? The scenario training is when I closed the school up, and I divided, I hung, and I'm going to tell you all this, but I hung the tarps and made different rooms. In one room, I took a bunch of our folding chairs, and I just put them in rows, so I called that the theater room. So I would send 5 or 6 people. I think I had 36 people go through the scenario training. They're sitting in a room. I had other people play the gunman, right? And then right next to that room, I just took one of my white folding tables, nothing fancy, put chairs around that, and that's your conference room. So now you're at work, you're at the conference room, you're on the 3rd floor. And I would tell them a scenario, you're on the 3rd floor. You're not just running out in the parking lot now. You're up there, somebody just ran by, there's a shooter downstairs, what do? That's what we want. Okay, what do I do? That's what this class is for, okay? The next room is you're in your buddy's apartment, his crazy wife comes in and starts pulling the trigger. What do? You know, and the one thing I learned about active shooter was when I learned gun disarms, it was like, give me your wallet, 1972, you know, give me your wallet, you know, and we would, okay, step 1, you know, we go through this. But an active shooter starts with, that's what starts. Boom, that's what happens. So there's no, okay, got the gun here out, okay. Now, with that being said, we got to start somewhere with some gun disarms, but my point is people are getting shot. An active shooter, and you're going to have to figure that out. And I want to give you some tips on how to make this class kind of fun. So we have a movie theater, we have a conference room, we have the apartment, also did, and the news covered this. I just thought it was interesting. The news said we're not putting this next room on the news. I call it the hostage room. Everybody that went in there with a pillowcase on their head, and I put them on their knees. Now get out. Make it intense. Make it scary. Make it like they're wow. Make them put it on Facebook. Make them put it on Facebook. If it's cool and exciting, they're putting it on Facebook. I'm just telling you, think about any time you've ever done something cool and exciting at your school, watch how many people you see on your news feed. Oh, they put it on Facebook. They don't put, I did Taekwondo Shodan today. I'm just being honest. I love Taekwondo Shodan, but they don't put it on there. Okay. The next room, I run out of tarp, so the next room we made them all. It was the biggest part of the dojo, right? So I had to be creative. You're outdoor. I don't know how many shootings are at a park, but you're in the outdoor. You have some room, some space, and so we covered these scenarios. We took the groups, we divided them into 5, 6 people, so they're not huge groups, but enough to bet. And we just rotate them about 3 to 5 minutes in each one of the scenarios. I'll get more into that in just a minute. So great retention. And I don't want to hit on this real quick too while I'm kind of on this. Adults, unless you're an MMA fighter, which is slim to none, okay? Everybody wants to be, but they're not really doing it. Or you're a hardcore karate competitor, which I was, but that's kind of, I hate to say it's somewhat dying down, at least maybe because I don't do it anymore, but it just seems like it's dying down. So as an adult, what are you looking forward to? Because there needs to be something. You can't just have baseball without a baseball game. You can't just have practice without this is it. This is it. So, we structure these things. We're going to have a carjack. So now we train for 2 months for the scenarios. We train for 2. So now you're giving your adults, wait a minute. And I guess how much I charge for that? Nothing. But now you don't have to go to the scenario training, but if you do, that's $50. So those 35 people paid $50. So I made, $1,700. And it's about 3 hours because I showed some stuff while I was there, warm-ups and a couple different things. But so it's definitely an income generator, but my students get it free. Now at the same time, if you want to make more money with it, you can advertise your 4 or 6 week membership, or not membership, but your active shooter program, and it can start with a free mass intro Saturday. And what I'm kind of doing today is a version of a mass intro. Just I'm kind of throwing stuff in there with you guys, but anyway, it gives these people an idea, something better to come in and see. So it gives them a purpose of what my point is trying to make. So now your students are training for a purpose, and not just training to train. Because getting your belts and all that's cool, but now, man, you got to get through this scenario training. Okay. Number two, great publicity. The news was all over this. The one video that I looked at before I came up here, it was like 82,000 views of me running with somebody, showing somebody how to get their kids out of an active shooter situation. 82,000 views. This is just like a month ago. Income generator, I just talked about that. Obviously, the fact that you could potentially save somebody's life. Unfortunately, every active shooter was ended by another shooter. That's how it is, or they shot themselves, one of the two. Ties your class into reality. We've already hit that, and I'm telling you that's going to be important. That's going to be important when you can tie in what you're teaching at your school into the real world. We can take this kid and we can improve his grades. Man, that's how you make money in the martial arts. You don't make money in the martial arts teaching front kicks. You just don't. You make money in the martial arts by teaching how does this. I mean, what? Okay, well, there's chamber and rechamber. That's putting it back. Oh, so you're putting things back. You're creating self-discipline. Oh, you had your hands up? Self-discipline. Where else can you use self-discipline at? This is the same thing, guys, for an adult version. And then, of course, you can get new members off this. Okay? All right, let me make sure I cover my notes before I turn the page. Okay, so when we get ready to have any event, we decide to have this active shooter event. We need to make some flyers. We need to put it on Facebook, social media. We put some posters around. Text messaging, man, I'm a huge fan of text messaging, text marketing. I'm huge with that. Create your keywords. Every time you have an event, you send people to this. So now, anytime I do the pepper spray, I told you I had all these people come to the pepper spray class. While I'm there, hey guys, if you'd like more information right now, grab your phone and text class, whatever the keyword would be, to 3765. Do it right now, guys. And you're not signed up for anything, but you'll be on my list. So next time I have this class, you're getting invited. Oh, man, almost everybody, I did a count, almost everybody text. Well, now I got that in a file. When I get ready to do this class, I just text them. After 2 or 3 years of this, that blows up and you have quite a few people in your marketing aspect. Email blast, okay, keeping up with all those people who don't join, email them. All those people who did join, email them, okay? Email. All right, make sure I've covered everything on this page. All right, so I'll probably repeat myself a little bit. I just want to make sure I cover some stuff. So a couple of different ways that you can set this class up. Number one, for your current members, I just talked about that. Give it to them free. Have the scenario training for $50. So it's an income generator. If they don't want to come, I'm sure I had a lot of students who didn't come. You know, that just said, hey, man, I'm not paying $50. I'm sure I did, whatever. But I had a lot that did. 35 adults showed up to do it. Then option number two is you can just do a 4-week course for $199. Pick your price. But remember, anytime you do like a short-term course, it needs to be in line with your regular program. So if you're charging $100 a month, or it should be way more than that, but if you are, your course needs to be somewhere to reflect that. So when you roll them over from your 4-week, 8-week course, it makes sense, okay? So there's not so cheap. Don't do it so cheap. Those are really your two ways. Mass intro to a 6-8 week course, or you can do a 4-hour seminar. I recommend getting people in your classes because that's what you're selling. Okay, we're not really selling active shooter. That's just the appetizer. Okay, where we want the steak and potato being bought, not necessarily the shrimp cocktail. Okay. All right. So now, active shooter. This term right here, write this down. This is kind of pretty much a law enforcement term. But I want you to use it. Kind of gives you feels like when you say this, you know what you're talking about. The idea behind active shooter is run, hide, fight. That's it. Law enforcement, military, that's what they teach. Run, hide, fight. So that means, in a nutshell, if somebody comes in this building and starts shooting, you need to run. Oh, that's a good idea. I don't think I had to come to the active shooter course to know to run, so somebody's shooting at me. The second thing to do is if I can't run, I need to hide. All right, and then the third thing is if I can't hide and I can't run, I've got to fight. Now, that's where we come in. We're martial artists. Let's teach them to fight. Let's teach them what to do. All right, and get this in our mindset, guys, that we're self-defense experts. And somebody comes running in with a bunch of nunchucks and starts going crazy, you're going to what? I mean, let's teach them how to defend themselves in 2016, okay? All right, so Typical class is going to have, I'm still going to do a warm-up. I always like doing warm-ups on stuff like this because I want them to, I just don't kill them. 25 push-ups, I probably skip the push-ups. I skip things that people can't do. And just a small warm-up, maybe jogging and around the room, a little games of shoulder tag or something just to get them moving a little bit. But very easy warm-up, and then we kind of go right into it. But I want to kind of jump and give you some tips on run. So running, be aware of all your exits. As teaching this classes that when you go somewhere, the first thing you need to do is be aware of how to get out of that room. So when you come in a room like this, you know there's an exit sign there. You know there's an exit sign there. I've already looked. I've already been back there and looked because I'm a weirdo. There's 2 exits up. Know where you are. I like to go. I have a wife and a 2-year-old. I'm going to be always between the door or wherever I think the active shooter is going to happen. It can unfortunately happen right next to me in the movie theater. Sometimes in the movie theater, we just have them, I'm wired up. Boom, boom. I didn't know he had a gun. Well, you don't know who's got a gun. That's the whole point. If I knew how to gun, it'd be a completely different scenario, right? So, but when I go to go out to eat, I always try to put myself, because I'm the fight. I'm going to take the fight. And my wife has been instructed detailedly how to get out of a building, where to run along the wall. She knows she knows what cover, difference between cover and concealment. She understands it. She knows how to run with our 2-year-old. She knows why. She knows, everything, man. Everything. She's a concealed permit holder. I'm a concealed permit holder. She understands if I have a gun, I'll draw out on somebody's attacking me, that she's all of a sudden coming and getting the keys out of my pocket. Unless I want to shoot them. Okay, but it's going to be kind of hard with the keys. That's her thing. She gets the keys. I know she unlocks the back door so I can get in. It's all practiced. It's all practice. We wake up in the middle of the night. She knows what her role is. I know what my role is. I'm telling you guys this because I want you to do it. What is the role? Boom, glass breaks, up. What's the 3 things that should be on your nightstand? Your car keys so you can set the alarm off in your garage or in your carport. A flashlight, your cell phone, a gun if you're prepared, if you're trained. Okay, and you need to know what to do. You got kids in the house, you need to know what to do. And I can't tell you what to do. You need to think about that. Okay. So in the restaurants, yes, sit to where I can get out. Be a good witness, guys. When you're running, I always tell people you don't always run because everybody might jump up and run for that exit. I may not go that exit. It depends on where the shooter is, but I may go out another exit because I've already identified where they are. Most people are going to jump up and run in the same place. When I am running, I like to run along the wall, and I also want to be a good witness because guess who's coming in the room? Law enforcement. Okay, so I need to be able to tell them. Guy with the green shirt and black hat. He's got a gun. If you're good enough, what kind of guns? AR-15s, a long rifle. Is it a pistol? What's he got? Be a good witness. Now I'm going to pause here. For concealed permit holders, that's a whole nother lecture because you're going to want to pull the gun out and defend, and it may make sense for you to do that, but I want you to understand that if my wife and kid had to be behind you and you drawing fire to them, when the active shooter was shooting everybody over there, and now you pull your gun out to be a hero, he turns to fire back at you, and my wife and daughter here, I'm going to have something to say to you. Think about it. I'm not saying you shouldn't. Think about it. Also, when you have a gun, you become the active shooter because nobody knows the difference between you and the active shooter. The cops are running in. They're like, okay, I'm just killing both of you. The police officer SWAT teams, I work with them every day. I train them every day. They are trained to kill you on an active shooter. They're not going to say, hey, are you the active shooter? Because I'm just confused. They're going to talk to you, okay? And with that. All right, hide. Make sure you know the difference between cover and concealment. So, give people permission to tear up your school a little bit, guys. When they're in that conference room, they got to pick that table up. They got to work as a team. There needs to be team building things, communications. When I take the gun down, if I've got time to orchestrate, I may say, excuse me, sir, what I need to do if this guy comes in, I'm going for the gun, you're going for the legs. I want you, ma'am, to look for any other secondary shooters. I don't know how many shooters there are. So the guy, I'm barricaded up the door. Next thing I know, he gets to the door. I'm going for the gun. Immediately, you should be on his legs. We're taking him down. You should be scanning and going, gun, gun, gun. So I can take that gun and start doing something to defend myself. So we teach a little teamwork in this. Really, really powerful. All right. I think I'm covering everything. All right, I'm going to hit that in a minute. Okay, so Mr. Silverman said, come do this. I said, yeah, I don't think so. I don't want to do this gun thing here because there's nowhere to do it. Oh, yeah, there is. I said, okay, we'll do it out so-and-so. Well, I'll get there and I said, there's like 100 people here, man. I done drug these guns all the way across the United States, smuggling some weapons in the airport, And he goes, well, don't do it. I said, oh, no. No, we're doing it, okay? So I want to show you guys a couple gun disarms. Everybody cool with that? Just for fun? Is everybody cool? All right, good. All right, Mr. Tassel, can I borrow you? Now, I don't have enough guns for everybody, so everybody's kind of work in teams. Let's be like 3 a table, something like that. And so, like you guys can kind of work together back and forth. We're just going to do it right here in the hallway. And Mr. Parman, is he in here? I can't tell. No? Or anybody else help me distribute some guns? Okay, I got somebody right here. Let me leave y'all a gun right here. And leave y'all one right here. One right here. Here, he's got one right there. Y'all got one. Awesome. Yes, sir. And thank you. Make sure I got a gun. I'll need one. All right. Don't do that, by the way. You guys don't do this. Okay, before we get started, guys, a couple safety things, all right? Seriously, listen up on this. Super important. Super important. Okay, seriously, all eyes on me. I normally don't like that. Yes, I do. But here's the thing: is when you're holding this gun, always, treat it as if it's a real gun. So you keep control of your muzzle direction. All right, so instead of pointing down or up or something, but down preferably. Second thing: never put your finger on the trigger, ever. Never, ever. When I was a police officer, I'm coming through a house, my finger's not on the trigger until I see something, and even then, because it doesn't take me very long at all to get to here, okay? So never put your finger on the trigger. And then for today's argument, I don't even want your finger right here. I want your finger tucked, because some of the gun disarmed, I don't want anybody getting a broke finger today, because Mr. Silverman will fire me, okay? So I don't know how you get fired on your day off, but it happens, okay? So all right, so this is how we're going to hold the gun. So I'm just going to do a very simple one. Come up here, sir. All right, so he points the gun at me, and of course, guys, you're gonna have people always asking, "Well, what if they're way over there?" Well, you're not. I mean, there's things you can do, but they ain't very good. Okay. All right, a Chuck Norris kick. No, I was kidding. I'm joking. All right, so the gun is here. This is what it's gonna look like. Okay, that's what it's gonna look like. If I have my own weapon, I tuck, and I'll come with my own gun. Okay. Now let's slow it down just a little bit. All right. So the first thing I want to do is redirect. That's that simple. I'm going to give you RCAT. Some of you guys in Krav Maga are familiar with this. Okay, so RCAT. So first thing, redirect. Very important. I don't want to blade myself completely sideways, because his natural instinct is to pull this gun back to him. That's what he's going to want to do. So yeah, I used to teach something that looked like this. The problem is, as soon as I do this, he's retracting the gun anyway. So I want to go there, redirect, and I put it in his stomach. And look, I'm kind of leaning on him. He's holding me up right now. But I'm really straight arm shoving this into his stomach. The next thing I want to do is I want to fire some combatives. This is going to be important for you striking schools. All right? Here's your chest, strike, knees, strike, whatever you got to do. Give them something so you can practice that before you ever get to the gun stuff. Okay? Now the next thing is I want to come in and I want to break. Now this is important, because the break is his fingers in the trigger. I'm breaking his finger. If I just snatch it out, if his finger's really in there, it's going to be hard actually for me to disarm, because his finger's going to get caught up, even if it's broke. So it needs to be break, take, clear that round in, and get on target. Okay? Even if you don't know what you're doing with a gun, do this. Okay? Just do this. Trust me. All right. And don't tell them you don't know what you're doing with a gun. Okay? All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to slow it down again, and then I'll walk you through it again. 1. And some of you go, "Oh, I don't know if that's fast." No, I don't know. It's better than what you had before you got here, okay? 1, all the way in, fire. So RCAT, redirect, control. I'm at a control point. He's not very strong with his arm in this condition, okay? So control. A is attack. Attack, elbows, whatever I need to do. The next thing is going to be takeaway, okay? Break, take. Clear. Now don't stand right here. I got the gun, because he's going to do it to you, okay? So clear some distance and get back on target, okay? So this is what we're going to work on. So stand up. I'm just going to give you guys some free time to do it. I don't expect y'all to be experts, but get your gun and point it at somebody. I'm getting ready a couple seconds. Stand up, stand up.
I'm going to give this to someone up there, and then we'll use this one.
Okay, good. Okay. Do it, yeah. Yep. Let me borrow a gun real quick. Okay, everybody stop for 1 second, please. Everybody stop, look up here. Let me pause my. Could y'all hear my active shooter? Could y'all hear that? Loud in the school. Okay, so now if I can just get it to stop, that'd be great. Boom. Okay, so I got that blaring. Where did I get that? I Googled, believe it or not. You know, I told you about Sensei Google. I Googled active shooter soundtrack. It's free. I jam it as loud as I could get. There's people screaming. It's dark. There's smoke. All right, anyway, back to here we go. So I want everybody to stay where we're doing. I want to just walk you through it one more time. All right, so the gun's at us. First thing, redirect. Okay? Control. I need to get in. I don't want to be too sideways. I don't have a lot of power. He can really probably push back and pull, and I need to be squared up. Oh, looks like a what? Getting that traditional stuff for you guys. All right, attack. All right, next thing is takeaway. I like a little punch to the stomach, reach under behind the gun if I can, and break the finger and pull it out. Move back, rack, and come on target. Okay? Rack a new step, you know, tap, rack, whatever, but I just soon just rack it, get a new round in, and come here. But if you want to impress your friends, you can tap, rack, and come back on, but whatever. Okay? All right, so one more last time. Okay? Oh, good instructor. Look at that. All right, so here we go. Redirect, control, attack, and disarm. Come back, and you're on target. Okay? Everybody will see it again? Everybody good? Practice it. I'll do it again in a minute. Practice, because we're going to do something else. Just say, keep working it, guys. Keep working it. There you go. Okay.
Let me just get you guys. Go into disarm.
All right. I mean, just go. Sorry. Or just pose.
Yeah, with the confrontation here. See it again? The moment of confrontation.
Okay. I don't know if he's taking a picture. Kind of weird being in a suit doing it. Good job. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's fine. I think you're right. The other side, you can see the gun better. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Okay.
So we can see the gun.
Okay. What am I doing? Okay. Got it.
And then you're going to finish with the...
All
You can still shot it.
No. Cool.
You know, if you play it and screenshot it, you can.
14-year-old. Not a lot to it. Not a lot to it. Okay, here we go. Here we go. All right, guys, listen, I understand that this can be a little bit weird, and you're like, okay, what? And this is, especially in the airport, you're standing in the aisle, you gotta, this is not ideal, but I wanted you to do it anyway. I just wanted you to do it, okay? I'm not worried about how good you're doing it. I just want you to get the idea about it. Now, I want to show you one more, okay, and this will be going from the back, but how many of you guys work like elbow strikes in your school, right? I mean, everybody does this move, all right? So the gun to the back, and I want to say too, whether it's to the front, that's good. I don't recommend ever getting the habit of putting your hands up, because now, I mean, that's a big motion versus this. Does that make sense? This is just a lot easier. So it's really going to be important here. Hey man, the first thing you want to do anytime is you can definitely. Oh wait, what's going on? I'm looking what's in his other hand. Okay, that's why he just did that, because I don't want him to have his finger in my back and the gun here, and I'm going for something. Oh God. Okay, so yeah, so I'm like, whoa, what's going on? So I identify that that's what it is. My first motion is going to be, again, as soon as I move, he is going to pull the gun back. I mean, right? So I need a really nice deep step in. Okay, redirect. There's my redirect. Okay, so my back of my arm is hitting this. I'll show up on a different angle in just a second. I'm taking a big step in, and there's that elbow. Okay, so again, in class, I would work elbows today. All right, and the cool thing is, no matter what kind of elbows you're working, if you have a long gun in your hand, man, you can do all kinds of stuff with a rifle or something like that, okay? So anyway, so we're here, long step, elbow, cinch up the wrist, combat us if I need to really loosen it up. I'm going to reach back. I'm not going to turn in to grab the gun because I don't want him taking my back. I'm going to bring the gun to me, break, take, strike if I need to, or just come back, all right? Never strike with the butt of the gun, okay? Always strike with the tip of the gun. You see that in the movie. Don't hit him over the head. Well, the only thing is, if a malfunction or shot fires, you get shot. So just make sure if he's going to malfunction in your favor, not their favor, okay? So again, you feel this, we're going to look, clear his other hand. This is the redirect. This is the control. This is the attack. Cinch it up nice and tight, maybe a few more combatives. If I can reach, great. If I need to pull it in, grab, break, get it off his finger, strike, or not, pull back, and you're ready, okay? All right, one more time. So we're here, look, 1, 2, 3, up, and I'm on target, okay? Pretty basic. Now, it might look complicated, but it's really not that hard. I mean, if you're here, if you can get just this, that's not bad. You know, if you're a jiu-jitsu guy, go ahead and take them to the ground, absolutely. You know, but make sure you're a jiu-jitsu guy before you do that. All right. If you're not, it's going to be your best bet to stay standing. You can hit, come back, put a new round in the pistol. Okay, let's try it just for fun, guys. Stand up and have fun. You're not getting a belt today. Just have some fun. What? Want a belt? That's probably all I'm going to show.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Because I was going to do some. Should we? I guess I can. I don't know if I should show them. Oh, stay up! I want to show them how to run with a kid. It'll look funny, me and you, but I'll do it anyway.
We always
Yeah, me too. I did too, man. I was like, take them with you. Yeah. I know. I was somewhere and they said, I was like, man, I never thought that. I'm hitting right, pointing somewhere on me. Like, why not just hit with the other end? I'm just gonna walk around. You don't even have to disengage. Once you kind of get right, you're here and you're cinched up like this. Kind of bring it up.
Yeah.
Break and take it off.
I saw that barrel.
Take it off. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
What's up? People like it, man.
Yeah, I knew they would. And they're active, they're moving, it wakes them up.
Yeah.
Kyle just posted it on my nice picture.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, look.
I always think people like getting up and doing stuff, man.
There's places that it's relative to. It meant something without
Oh, so that's cool. Who gets out of a business meeting? Nobody gets out of business
Active
meeting.
shooter seminar for your schools.
Yeah.
Great topics covered today. How many of you have had an active shooter seminar for your schools?
Maya, baby. That's how you do it. Yes, sir. It would still work. It would still. That's the right way. Yeah. Still works. It still works. Yeah. You just need to break and take. Yep. Yep. Well, it'd be the same. It would be the same thing. It's just more risky. But they can get there faster that way. You still got to redirect it. You still have to get further into them and push and redirect. So that's why I want to teach the redirect. So you always redirect, no matter what. Get it off of fire, and then control it, and then work on trying to take it away, whether it's through combatives or just adrenaline, whatever. But that's a hard one. But it is. You just have, if you just, do the other, yeah, but that's going to be the gun. No, yeah. So if I'm here, I'm just going to go in. Yeah.
Did you do that one?
Well, I really wouldn't want to do that one, but
No, you just look over and pin it?
Yes, that's exactly right. Yep. So it's just
That sucks. That's a long way to go.
That's a long way to go. Now they teach one that's just stay there. Yeah, just stay right there. That's here, and it's. But that's freaking, come on, that's hard, man. That's a long way. But it's active shooter.
Anything else to do.
That's right. Yeah.
Keep going for a minute. Silverman's grabbing his iPad, wants to take a picture.
Okay, I'm gonna do something else. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna do. Matter of fact, stay up here. Okay, everybody, stop for a second. Look up here. I want to show you one more that's kind of good for active shooter. But here's the thing, guys. As active shooter, you're going to teach all these, but you're not going to be in this spot with active shooter, probably, okay? But let me give you one that's maybe somewhat more realistic. You point the gun at him. Okay, so the gun's pointed at him, and I want to hit him from his peripheral, golly, couldn't say it, vision. So as I want to lower my body, I'm coming up, stripping the gun back, and taking it from here, okay? So, yeah, it could be the wife. So again, lower my body, coming up, one palm's up or down, and one palm's up, and hit. I'm doing it slow motion. Redirect again. control, and I'm doing the control by getting this angle again in his arm. He's strong right here. Once I can get this, he loses power. And then I just strip the gun away, and I come back in. All right, so one more time, this different side. So again, you can come up here, but he can see me out of his peripheral and right. So I want to lower my body down. Okay, so there we go. And if you do it with a microphone, it's really cool. Yeah. So again, one more time, slow. Lower, coming up, redirect, because I don't want him to get shot. All you I don't care about. Strip the gun back, and I'm right here. Okay? Okay? This one,
Fifth time.
for the yeah. Again, lower, redirect, pivot, strip down, and then I'm here. Okay. So that's a cool one to do. And what's kind of fun? Can I borrow you? Yeah. All right. A fun drill. He points the gun here. All right. And then I'm going to take the gun. I come right here. So if you just have 4 people in class, you stand right here, and you take the gun. Yep. All right. And you point the gun at him. You take the gun. And nobody knows what they're doing, but that's okay. Y'all get the idea. Right? And you'll just stay over there. And you'll point it at me. You'll take the gun. Yes, nice. Good. He'll point it. And so that's just a fun, easy drill that you can do. That's good. That's just a fun, easy drill, in case we need it, that you can do, just kind of working some third party, how to take it away from somebody else when they have it on somebody, okay? So much stuff you can do as well. This one's going to be kind of weird with me and Shane doing this, but the Acts of the News requested this. They said, look, we want to make this a story, but what about active shooter with a kid? And I was like, okay, we'll kind of cover the run, hide, and fight, but this is the video that got a lot of views on it. And really I learned this when I went to a bodyguard school 20 years ago. It's just when you're protecting the client, this is how you would move them. So if I want to protect him, I want to reach around to where his belt would be, or even if he has a belt, that's where this hand's going to go maybe to grab that belt. The other hand's going to come to the back of his head. I'm going to get off the mic. My legs, my feet have to be wider than his feet as I move him through wherever we're going. Okay, this is the motion. If I'm armed, I can do the exact same thing, except now I just have my gun. He's going to have some ear problems later, but I have that. So it's very simple, and all the moms love this because they got to get their kid out, and you're sheltering your kid. So now I'm taking it around, and that's what most parents want to do. I'm controlling here at the waist. I'm controlling at the back. My feet, in case he falls, are not going to be. I'm not going to fall on top of him, and I can move him just about anywhere I want to, out the doors, out the exits, because a lot of times the kids are going to freeze up, or they're just too heavy for you to carry. So that was a fun drill to do. Line up your class, have them take them back and forth down the floor. They really enjoyed that. So these are just fun stuff that you guys can do to make your class. There's a lot for 2 grown men to do that, by the way. So give us a hand for that. Okay, so RCAT, write that down. Redirect, control, attack, takeaway. RCAT, RCAT. Redirect, control, attack, takeaway. Because anytime you do a gun thing, people are going to go, well, what if the gun's here? Well, man, until you got some years of experience, answering some of these questions can be tough. Remember, RCAT, redirect. What if the gun's right here? What do you do first, guys? Oh, y'all are gun experts. You get it? I mean, what if the gun's at your leg? What if you're on your knees and the gun's right here? Redirect. Okay, there's ways, okay? So it just takes training. I always tell everybody it's a 110% last resort only. If somebody comes up and says, give me your wallet, what do? You give me your wallet, especially mine, there's nothing in it, okay? Every scenario. I'll tell you a true story happened to my karate instructor. He went out to Buffalo Wild Wings and was watching Monday Night Football, and he comes out and he's in his arm's in a cast. And if you've ever been injured, and if you're over 40, you've been injured, it's very scary and very frustrating being a black belt, somebody you spent your whole life training to defend yourself, and now you're this guy. Oh, God, this is going to be the day I get attacked, And so it drives me crazy. So sure enough, he has shoulder surgery. He's in a sling. He walks out to his car, and the guy comes up and says, hey, man, give me your wallet. He's like, I mean, here's my wallet. He had money. You ain't got money. All right, get in your truck. We're going to an ATM. Me too. I haven't used ATM in 100 years. I couldn't tell you for no amount of money. I don't have a pen. I mean, I just don't. Do they even have ATMs anymore? So he was taking me to the ATM. He goes, man, I swear to you, I don't have an ATM. He goes, man, I was scared to death, man. He goes, even if I even knew the gun stuff, to be honest with you, I mean, I'm limited, right? I said, well, what happened next? He said, well, he goes, take me to your house. I know you got money there. He goes, that's when it got bad. He goes, I got wife and kids, man. I can't be taking, this thug to my house under any circumstances. Under any that's gun disarms. That's what we have to teach. So when you're teaching this, make sure they understand when it would be applicable for them to even to attempt this. And then tell them, guys, look, you can't come take this one class. I need to see you put some time into it. I got to cover footwork. I got to cover combatives, elbows, knees, long range, close range techniques that are going to help defend you. I got to build you up to this. And then when you're teaching your classes, you're talking about your stances, how they're going to use. So, sir, you're going to talk about elbows, how they're important, and knee strikes. And I mean, you can start to tie in what you're already teaching to some gun disarms. So anyway, it's just a great, man. I just think it's great. And, you can YouTube a lot of gun disarms, and some are bad, but most, even the bad ones I've seen, are still better than what they had, okay? So you can work on it. I've critiqued my gun disarms. Like I told you years ago, I always taught this, and I taught it to law enforcement. Move the gun. I never thought about them pulling it back, That's been something that's been added in the last, 8 years probably, is now you got to go where they're taking the gun. You know what I mean? So it's going to evolve, all right? So anyway, I think that's it, guys. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, so another thing in those scenario training rooms, smoke. I got a couple smoke machines. I filled the place up with smoke. This is what I wanted to do for you guys at one of the schools. We just couldn't make it happen. I had that active shooter soundtrack on the loop, so it's going to have my home system jamming in the school where it's just loud and chaotic. It's full of smoke. I had my strobe lights going in. I just tell people at the beginning, if you have any, seizures or anything like that, know that this is how the room is going to be prepared. I had a starter pistol that shot like 22 caliber starter stuff. Only I did that, by the way. But I would walk through the rooms and pow, 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 just give it a little bit louder emphasis, plus the smell of gunpowder, especially if you have any military and I had it full of police officers there, full of military. I have a base right there. And so the realism of the gunpowder made it really, really, really real. I know this sounds silly, but it's not silly at all in Memphis. You need to check every single participant before you start this to make sure they don't have a weapon on them. Seriously. So I would literally teach you how to pat somebody down, get your partner and pat them down. Literally, no knives, no guns, no nothing. I don't care how many permits you got and how many police officers you are. That gun stays locked up or wherever you keep it at the house for today or whatever. But do not, under any circumstance, let anybody have a real weapon in there, because who knows, man, these guns in the dark and strobe lights, I mean, it can get confusing, okay? Contact your local news. Let them know what you're doing. So much you can teach, guys. I like teaching takedowns. I like teaching how to fall, because if you go to my Facebook, on my personal Facebook page, you have to scroll down a little bit, but you can find the newscast, and you'll see that everybody ends up getting tackled. Everybody gets taken to the ground. That's what we had to do. So everybody needs to know how to fall, so you can limit some injuries with that. They need to kind of know how to take somebody to the ground. We have people in the red man suits. I got a couple of those, or just headgears. And plus it makes it more intense. And that's what you want. You want to make this event where people talk about it. You want people going, man. So after it was over, everybody's sweating. You go, that was crazy, man. That was cool. There was just bloom, bloom, bloom. And all my guys that I had as the shooters were really intense. And so I got one more minute. I think that's what they're telling me. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Do you recommend doing like a 6 or 8 week program with all the training before?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, here's the big scenario, right? So the idea is you're teaching them these guns. So the first day may be what we just did today, if that, because I'm adding, if they don't know martial arts, I'm adding the combatives, because I want them to stay past the guns, right? Yes, sir. Did you have a question?
Two-part question. One, is there a place can you help us get right information? You gave us out some stuff today. Is there any stuff we can get back? Second, any way to get into corporate?
Yeah, man, that's huge. Yes. Yes, yes. So two things. We're actually talking to Maya about putting a program together, like a 2-day event where you guys could come in and go through. It'd take 2 days because we'd have to really get you right, So we are in the works. I'll put the pressure on them for that. And then corporate, yes, man. I'll tell you this. I had the FBI calling me, wanting to know who certified me. I said me, and I told them I told them my credentials. They said, can you teach us? I said yes. Ironically, they're one of the biggest lotteries that we've ever had. The winners, one's in California, one's in my neighborhood. Okay, and yeah. And so they called and said, look, we saw you on the news, and we need somebody to protect us. Can we? And I said, well, it can't be me, but it can be some of my guys that are in contact. So, and then now I've got all these other corporations. People are calling me left and right going, can you come in and talk to, a matter of fact, my daughter's school said, look, we saw you on the news. Can you come in and talk to our teachers about active shooter in the school situation and how we do that? How do we, what's the guidelines? It's still run, high, fight. We just change it slightly for each application. You know what I mean? But yeah, so definitely can get it corporate. The more you want to work at, the better you can do. And here's another thing, guys. We need to become experts. And you are experts. Let me rephrase that. You are experts, but we got to let people know that you're experts. You're a child safety expert. You're an adult safety expert. One of the reasons I'm doing this is because my adult program was sinking, man. I'm like, what? I got 400 and something members at this one school, but ain't but 3 of them adults. I got to get some adults. So in the last, it's taken me a couple years to build up, but we have probably 100 active adults in that school now. It ain't bragging rights, but it's more than I had, right? Okay, so because I started focusing on what adults want, you know what I mean? So, yes, okay, good. Any other questions?
So real quick,
yeah.
So I just want to go through what Mr. Beard's talking about, because I have a client that actually had a free self-defense seminar, and he picked 3 winners, and they essentially were like a host. So if you think of like a Tupperware party, they were the host, and they invited their friends and coworkers, and out of the 3 hosts, 44 people came to the free self-defense seminar that was 90 minutes, okay? Out of those 44 people that came, first of all, the interaction was cool because they were all coworkers and knew each other. Out of those 44 people, he had 21 sign up for a 4-week program at his school, and now he's in the midst of converting them from the 4-week program into martial arts students. So, proof positive, you can use this same exact
That's
thing
awesome.
for your schools.
That's awesome. I'll be seeing you back in just a minute. That was great. Slow down, talk slow. I'm the only one allowed to talk fast around here, by the way. All right, good. Any other questions? Anything else? All right, guys. Everybody enjoy it? Yes. All right. Thank you. Yeah, hey guys, please let me get these guns. Guns back, whatever you do, guns back. If you don't mind, just maybe pick somebody to bring them down and throw them in the suitcase. Thank you. Cool, that's cool. Oh, look at that.
I told him 3-4 months ago I wanted to see something like this. After